Perfect. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen watching around the world. $36,500, the CaptiveOne Grand Prix Qualifier this evening, right in beautiful Del Mar, California, the Del Mar Fairgrounds. And we are, well, just about 1 kilometer away from the ocean, so this is truly where the surf meets the turf. It's very, very close. International competition, 11 nations represented this evening. And those 11 nations, we have Japan, Venezuela, Germany, Brazil, Ireland, Denmark, Israel, Sweden, New Zealand, Mexico, and of course the host nation of the United States to make up the 11. And Alan Wade from Tipperary, Ireland, he has done such an amazing job tonight. Fences numbered 1 through 13, 16 jumping efforts up to 1.50 meters in height, over 480 meters, a little bit less than half a kilometer, but we are inside.
77 seconds, I still feel is a pretty short time allowed for this, and I think we've got different jumps here than we normally see at Del Mar. I believe that Dale has, Harvey, the show manager, has purchased some of his own jumps, and he's got some different gates and things that we really aren't used to seeing.
He has some absolutely spectacular fences that are inside, and we are going to be seeing a large field. My starting list is 65, in fact, in length. So we're going to in for a great event this evening. $36,500. Once again, this is a Grand Prix qualifier. This is the CaptiveOne Grand Prix qualifier with fences up to 1.50 meters. We're just having a little look at the ring here. And in fact, what you're looking at is fence number 15 or 13. That's the final fence right there in the screenshot.
It's quite wide, actually, isn't it?
It's a wide oxer. I know I was hearing some of the riders when they were talking. Fence number 4 with the Mafia stripes, with those horizontal striped rails and the Liverpool underneath. They were a little concerned that could come down with a skinny coming right after that.
Yeah, you don't want to take down the Mafia jump, that's for sure.
No, that is very, very true. So we do have a total of 16 jumping efforts numbered 1 through 13, 2 combinations on course. And the one in the middle part of the course, fence number 6, A, B, and C. And that's on the far side of the arena, just on the wall there. As you're looking at this shot, just a little bit to the right-hand side, just out of the picture frame, fence number 12A and 12B. And that's the Longines combination, oxer vertical combination.
So if you guys would like to kick to the ceremony, we can go for the singer.
Well, to honor our host nation, and we are having the national anthem sung of the United States of America.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose lustrous and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Catherine Gregory, thank you so much.
Well, certainly a lovely way to start our competition this evening as we honor the host nation in our $36,500 CaptiveOne Grand Prix Qualifier. 65 horse rider combinations. They will be joining us tonight. A nice large field.
Well, and I'm Susan Artez, by the way, joining Davin Monquist, and we're in beautiful Del Mar where the weather is perfect.
As usual.
It'll get chilly in a little while, and as the light changes, we may see some horses have a little more reflection over the jumps than others. And there's a few horses we have tonight that have not been in this arena before, I believe.
Now, this arena, it's for indoors. This is a fairly large indoor arena. As the size of this arena, not quite as, the one in Sacramento we were at 2 weeks ago was a little bit smaller than this arena. This is a large indoor.
Right. This ride's a little bit more like an outdoor, but it's got high stadium. You know, there's not a lot of people here watching tonight because it's a weekday, and
the weekday, but we know that Saturday night this place will be packed.
it can be, yes, and people look forward to coming here.
So here's the first of 65, Arc de Triomphe, a 14-year-old stallion. Nick Geegan rides the horse owned by Newlani Farms. And there's a Royal Dutch Warm Blood sired by For Pleasure. So here's our first one, 77 seconds time allowed. There's that first fence for Nick Geegan and Arc de Triomphe. So the first two fences behind him. He's on the fence number 3. I mentioned there were some riders who had been talking about fence number 4 with the Mafia stripes right there.
Yeah, I think it's an easy jump to rub, and that 4 gets very short. So I think in to some degree, you know, it's a little hard to judge. I think especially in the twilight here, I think it's even a little bit more difficult than you'd expect. This horse has a different kind of a style, but he's very scopy, and Nick's really taken his time over these last couple of years moving him up to this division. A few little lucky rubs here thus far.
He's had a couple of lucky rubs, as you mentioned, on a fence number 8 now. Tall upright with that skinny plank over top of fence number 8 to our GGT footing signature fence number 9. Wide Oxford fence number 10. So he has 4 jumping efforts remaining, 11, 12 AB, and 13.
Right, but he's pretty close on time allowed, and, I think he would like to qualify for Saturday night. I don't know what his plans are, but I do think that he's going to be a little pushing it on time. He's taken his time for being the first rider in the ring, but...
Well, unfortunate. Final fence comes down. That'll be 4 jumping faults. Just at fence number 13, we'll tack on 1 time fall. That's the time, 79.59 seconds. So that was Nick Geegan and Arc de Triomphe, our first of 65.
But, he wasn't really that far over the time allowed, so I don't think the time allowed will change. I think if anything, I would leave it the same.
There's that ride down at 13, just knocks it down just right at the front. And I agree with you, Susan, that I do not think that time allowed is actually going to change. I think they'll stay with it. The judges, they do have 3 rides in order to be able to determine whether there was an error in the measurement or not. Ali Leopold Moreno and Ulysse Dubelberg is our next entry, an 11-year-old Grey Gelding. And this is a Seul Francais. So here is our second. This rider also rides for the host nation of the United States. So Nick Geegan, just that final fence down, had a couple rubs on course, and also the 1 time fault added on for a total of 5. So we go to the 11-year-old gelding next. Oh.
I hate that.
Oh, that is such a tough way to start. So Ali Leopold Moreno, just coming to fence number 3 and down to that wide Oxford here at fence number 4 to the skinny.
Ali's gotten a lot of experience in these classes in the last couple of years, and so I think now she's much more efficient with making the time allowed and that sort of thing. And
this will actually be the first of a couple rides. She's got 2, unfortunately, the B element coming down and the C element, part of that triple combination.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit low tonight. This would be the horse that she designated as the horse that she would like to qualify for on Saturday night.
Mm-hmm. So right now sitting with 12 faults. As she makes that turn for home fence number 11, 12 AB, and 13. I think she could be playing the time as well, just a little bit.
Yeah, I think with 12 faults, even this early on, she didn't fit the 5 in very well. Yeah, I don't see this qualifying for the Saturday night class.
Ooh, just barely over that time allowed, a 77 seconds, 77.05. Well, that'll be 20 jumping faults, 1 time fault for Ali Leopold Moreno, and a total of 21. That will be her score right now into second place. $36,500, the CaptiveOne Grand Prix Qualifier right here in beautiful Del Mar, California. And our third rider for the USA, we stay with the host nation. Once again, 11 nations, an impressive 11 nations represented. This is Caitlin Campbell and Durando, an 11-year-old stallion. And this horse, a Royal Dutch Warm Blood. So we have 2 grays in a row. We had Ali Leopold Moreno's gray. Now another gray. This one's just a little bit lighter.
A little bit whiter, yes.
So going early on in a field, in a large field of 65, does it help you go early, or?
Well, I think at this stage of the game, it doesn't really matter. I mean, obviously, when you go early, you need to think about the time allowed, and those first 2 having time faults. Caitlin's horse, I'm not super familiar with this horse, but I do. Looks like it spends a little time in the air, so she's got to make up for that by making short turns.
Oh. That's some tough luck there at fence number 4. Just the hesitation off the ground. Kind of looked like the horse off of fence number 3 wanted to go past fence number 4 a little bit.
Well, she came out to fit the 8 strides in. This horse has a very big stride, and it does walk kind of an outside 8. But I think he maybe looked at the Liverpool a little bit with the lights reflecting on it at this time of the day. And also those stripes are hard to gauge.
Mm-hmm.
It's away from the gate.
So she's going to have 4 faults right now for that refusal on course.
Ooh.
So some rubs through the triple combination on fence number 7. So we're sitting at 8 faults as she had the refusal, also the B element of the triple combination down for Caitlin Campbell and Durando. Little touch at fence number 9. Now, obviously, the time faults, they're already starting to accumulate, unfortunately.
Well, especially, yeah, having that stop definitely gets her into trouble time-wise. Just a little bit of a slow type of horse to begin with, so she would have to have made a huge effort to try to make that time.
Exactly, 98.84 seconds, that's the time. 8 jumping faults, we also add on 6 time faults for a total of 14. Puts them in a second place with Nick Egan, just that 1 rail and the 1 time fault, still in the lead with a total of 5 faults. And Lubo's our next horse. And the rider for the USA, Jamie Barge from Malibu, in fact. And this horse owned by Kylie Coe, also of Malibu. This horse sired by Lord Pezzi, a 14-year-old gray gelding. Now, Jamie and this horse, they've had a long, successful career together.
Right, they've been together a long time, and this horse has given her so much great experience. And, I still think she's got a chance. She's got several more years left in this horse. He's going really well, and she's got some other younger ones coming up.
And I don't know why. Every single time I see this horse, it always reminds me a little bit of a cat. It knows exactly where its legs are. It's really, really such a neat animal.
Yeah, he is catty. He's quick, and he goes with his head up a little bit, and they're very comfortable together.
Oh.
I think we're going to see that jump come down a lot. As a matter of fact, I think both. I was just going to say, I think both of those jumps are going to come down a lot. It's hard to read those striped rails, and it's also going toward the jumbotron, which can be a little distracting.
Oh, it's the A element coming down. So we're sitting at 12 faults for Jamie Barge and Lubo. Well, and so far, fence number 8, nobody's touched that. That has that skinny little plank over top of fence number 8.
So far, the beginning of the course has proven itself to be a little, a little bit challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the breeze is blowing, and her horse looked at those flags. Oh, she saved that pretty well.
That was a nice ride.
Yeah, he's just a little unfocused tonight, but I still think. Did that come
So
down?
Little
or stay
Rub
up?
at that
Okay.
final fence, 75.13 seconds. She gets under that time allowed of 77 seconds. 12 jumping faults for Jamie Barge and Lubo. That's going to put her into second place. So Nick Geegan still in the lead, Jamie Barge in second, Caitlin Campbell in third, Ali Leopold Moreno in fourth place. Well, now we turn our attention to Choco P and Olympic gold medalist Will Simpson for the USA. And this is a Mecklenburg 10-year-old gelding, sired by Choco Blue. So obviously having a gold medal under your belt, that adds to a huge amount of experience that this rider's had.
Sure. I mean, Will's been winning Grand Prix since I can remember, really.
And just like we saw up in Sacramento, Will Simpson, Choco P, he takes that shorter approach to that first fence.
He usually does. I think he bounces around less that way. We rarely worry about Will having time faults, and I don't, like I said, I don't think that this time allowed is super tight, so I don't predict any issues as far as time goes for them.
Ooh, nicely over fence number 4.
That 4 will get a little tight for a lot of horses there.
Coming on to fence number 6A. There's the B element. And nicely over fence number C.
And sometimes this horse likes to hop a little bit, you know, when Will tries to shorten his stride, he hops a little bit, and that can be difficult to manage. Oh, really kind of just jumped right through that, didn't he? And a little skip there, but saved it.
And this horse certainly looks like it likes to attack the fences a little bit.
Right, and so Will has to hold him away a little bit and be very quiet in the process.
Okay, so we have 4 faults right now. Time does not look like, oh, shoot. Spoke too soon. 8 faults for Will Simpson and Choco P as they head for home, and looks at the time is good, 71.81 seconds. As you mentioned, that time allowed probably not going to be too much of a factor here tonight, but unfortunately lots of jumps out there are factors.
Right,
Lots
and
of questions.
things do come up quickly. Even though this is a large ring, the way Alan Wade has set this course tonight, there's things that come up quickly out of the corners, and the light also now becomes difficult because you've got you know, it really is twilight, and even though the indoor lights are on, you've got the combination of that. It's still shadowy and dark in some places and light in others, and it just rides differently than it does during the day or when it's completely dark outside.
Well, Ariel La Serene is our next horse owned by young Hannah Lawley, the rider Carrie Potter for the USA. That's Westphalian, 10-year-old mare.
This is a newer horse for both Hannah to own and Carrie to ride, and I think she's a really talented mare. So I know that Carrie's very excited about her. Carrie is always very good at bringing along these inexperienced horses up into the ranks.
And I have to say, Carrie Potter's done a great job with Hannah Lawley, still a young teenager, and she won a $100,000 Grand Prix just this past summer.
Right, she's been really on it. A very scopy horse. She handles the combinations well. And it looks like Carrie's starting to get the rideability that she needs to jump some even bigger classes.
Well, so far so good as she turns to fence number 8. That's the one that Will had down. Okay, that was beautifully done. And this is a great little mare because at least the way I look at her ears when she sees the fence, they perk forward. She's right on top of focusing on.
Yeah, and she's very careful. And I think Carrie's really put some good, you know, flat. Whoop! Jumped loose a little bit there. She looked at those stripes, didn't she? Yeah.
Okay,
this
so
is
1 remaining, and the time is good.
I think I'm feeling good here. Yep.
Oh, yeah,
Excellent.
what a ride. Clear round, Carrie Potter and Ariel La Serene, 74.94 seconds. Nicely done. There's the first ride, the first clear ride in our $36,500 CaptiveOne Grand Prix qualifier, and that is Carrie Potter and Ariel La Serene. They go clear 74.94 seconds.
And Carrie really keeps her cool. Huh? She got jumped really loose there. She landed and kept her eye up, and so she was still able to fit that 5 in really well. She's such a talent.
And wow, that mare is explosive over the top of the fences.
Yeah, that's a lot of work, but Carrie just keeps her cool and doesn't give up and give the horse the best ride to the last jump she possibly could.
That was just a beautiful ride, Kerry Potter and Ariola Seren. So there's our first clear. And clockwise of Green Hill Z, that's the 12-year-old Grey Stallion. Uma O'Neill, the rider and owner for New Zealand, in fact. This is a Zangashana, sired by Clearway.
And I know that Uma, is looking forward to trying to qualify for the World Cup final, and she'll be hitting most of these World Cup qualifiers now, I think. We didn't see her last week in Sacramento, but I'm sure that she'll be heading out to the desert in the next few weeks to do the qualifier there, and then there's Vegas after that. So nice short turn there.
Now, with a short turn like that, does it help you on a little bit later on in the course if you can buy some time, I guess?
I don't know that you can really buy time, but like for instance, coming back to the triple combination here, I think it's important there to go ahead and use whatever real estate you've got available to you. Everyone loves this horse. Yeah, I think maybe, did she add there? I think she might have done it. Yeah, I think she did 7. I wasn't counting, but it looked a little quiet. And a little quiet there, but he's got enough step that makes the 5 work.
Ooh. And I know you mentioned everybody loves this horse. This horse, when he's there for the FEI jogs, as they jog before the competition week, he is just the perfect gentleman.
I'm sure he is.
Even though he's a stallion, he's
I'm
a
sure
perfect
he
gentleman.
Is, yeah. A little shift there. She's close on time, but I think she's okay as long as she... I think she should be all right here. All right, very well done. Under the time,
look at that
barely
time,
under the time.
76.91 seconds. Looks like we're going to have a jump off in our $36,500 CaptiveOne Grand Prix qualifier as Uma O'Neill and clockwise of Green Hill Z, used up most of that time allowed. She's allowed to do that. What a great young rider here.
And a relatively uneventful round. I mean, I think she did add a step down that line after the combination, but it all worked out.
And this horse just jumps. Wow.
Yeah, it's fun to watch him in slow motion, isn't it?
It is. It's amazing to watch him in slow motion.
He's so focused.
Over fence number 13, beautifully done. 76.91 seconds. Cut it close, but you know what? We're going to have a jump off this evening, and we are at the early stages as Uma was the 7th of a field of 65. Georgina Bloomberg makes it 8. We go back to the riders for the USA. Charmer is our next entry, an 11-year-old Bay Gelding, Westphalian.
All right, and we've had Georgina was here last year for the World Cup qualifier,
yes.
So
it's always great to have Georgina Bloomberg, who calls home New York, to have her join us here in beautiful Del Mar. And she is always such a solid rider.
Right, and again, she stays very cool. I don't know whether she gets nervous or not, but it certainly never looks that way. She always has a very calm, cool expression, and
nicely ridden to that skinny. So we make the turn to the triple combination.
a little deep there. A light type horse like that, sometimes the horses like this can get away with rubbing the jumps a little bit because she rubs them. Rubs them very lightly. I think that's the most careful jump on course, that plank on flat cups away from the gate. Very smooth. Now she lands and goes forward a little bit to think about the time allowed, but she should be okay on time. She rode in a little forward. That's going to make the 5 a little tight here. Beautiful.
Now, a horse like this that has its own motor, you don't have to use a lot of leg on this horse, do you?
Well, I think every horse needs a little leg, but she's very efficient with her legs. She doesn't overdo. And there we have it, a very easy, clear round, I thought.
Well, 75.24 seconds. Nicely done, Georgina Bloomberg and Shamura. That means we're going to have 3 for the jump off. 3 clears in a row.
It's funny how that works.
So here we see Georgina Bloomberg over fence number 11. Keeps her focus on fence number 12.
She fit that 5 stride in early, so she was able to put her leg on again for the back rail there. So.
And it was very interesting. Over 12B, you could see Georgina all of a sudden some focus on fence number 13. She got her eye directly on that fence.
Right, because once she knew she already had, knew what she needed to do at B, then she was able to focus on measuring that 6 stride to the last jump.
So we can see the clears. We have Carrie Potter, Uma O'Neill, and Georgina Bloomberg. So right now with the U.S. with 2 in the jump off, New Zealand with 1 on the jump off. And FEI is our 9-year-old gelding young horse here. Nick Delajoyo rides for the USA. Horse owned by Emily Perez, a Royal Dutch Warmblood, started by Zazu R.
It's nice to have Nick out here. It's been fun to have him at these horse shows. He's a fun guy, and he's very, very dedicated and focused. And his father, Norman, is also here.
Mm-hmm.
He's been coming out for these couple of World Cup classes and helping a bit.
And I think that's got to, I mean, besides having your father as your ground person, but somebody who has that much experience as well, with Norman having that as your ground person.
Well,
really
right.
helps.
It's a tough act to follow, for sure.
Okay, there's Liverpool on a fence number 5 there.
And again, he's using all of his turn there in order to give the horse. It's just this comes up out of the corner pretty quickly. A little bit of a rub there.
Ooh, little rub there as well.
Right, but on the way up, so maybe the horse will learn a little bit from that. He's taking his time. She's a little tricky in the mouth there.
Well, and a young horse, a 9-year-old gelding, so just stepping up to this ranks and having Nick Delajoyo as the rider, that certainly does help out.
Right, here I am again getting the sex of the horse wrong, but
That's okay. I don't think the horse is going to be watching.
No, it's just the whole gender thing, It's so confusing these days. Ooh,
Oh.
a little funny there.
12A down, and could be playing with time here.
Close, yeah, I think we are over the time.
Yeah, 78.76 seconds, 4 jumping faults just at fence number 12A, and 1 time fault, so 4 jumping, the 1 time for a total of 5. That's going to put him into 5th place. I think he's still going to be happy with that. That's a young gelding, that 9-year-old gelding, Feon and Nick Delajoyo. I mean, obviously he was looking for the clear round, but his horse jumped great. Watching this last line as Nick comes down, and here's that rail.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, but the horse just kind of looked, jumped B a little awkwardly as well, but I think that was just a little bit green in this arena with the light. And
Well, Emma Rykow up next, rides for the USA. And it's a 15-year-old gelding Apex.
she's getting a lot of great experience with this horse. It's given her a lot of good mileage over big jumps, and she's really getting a lot of confidence. And when you do this every week, it starts to become easier and easier, and you don't worry so much about it.
Well, she certainly has had quite the, I mean, aside from being at the top level of show jumping in the World Cup qualifiers, she also still has her equitation horses and additional horses as well.
She's been winning quite a lot, and she won the talent search at the Oaks, about a month ago now?
Yep. Yeah, and that's always that interesting thing with the talent search, because it for the fourth phase of it, the riders have to ride all four. There are four who qualify for it, and they have to ride all the horses.
Right. It's always a great experience when the more horses you can sit on as a young rider, the better. It gives you better instinct and reflex and feel.
Well, and so far so good. Time could be a factor here. She looks a little bit slow.
Feels a little slow, but this horse doesn't spend much time in the air. But I think she will be a little over the time. But she'll still qualify for Saturday, so that's important.
Beautiful ride. What a nice
Well
ride.
done.
77.99 seconds, less than a second over that time allowed, just the one time fault. That's going to put that young rider into fourth place. I think she's got to be super happy with that.
I would think so, yes. Very smooth and a really nice, solid round going into Saturday night.
Well, you see that smile, I think, said it all as Emma Rykow, she exits the ring. And you could actually hear her trainer, who's up next, just have a little word with her as she was coming by or coming down to the last fence. He said time, and Harley knowing that time, in fact, was going to be a factor.
Right, but really, once you've jumped into that last line, there's not a whole lot you can do about it at that point. I think it is what it is. You've got to make your time up somewhere along the line before you get to that last line.
Well, so go to the rider from down under, Harley Brown, and My Lord Coronet, a 9-year-old mare. So a young mare here, Olenberg, started by Montender. So Harley and his wife Olivia Brown, they are the trainers for Emma, who just had the one time fault.
And Harley did this horse in these bigger classes last year, too. So this horse has actually got more experience than most at this age as a 9-year-old. Still doesn't change leads, but Harley doesn't let that rattle him much. She's a very careful horse.
Looks like they had a little bit,
Ooh,
slight
that was
disagreement
awkward.
in the corner there.
Yeah, and like I said, that it comes up very quickly out of the corner, so there's no time to fix it if something goes wrong.
And that's one of the things, especially when it comes down to show jumping. If something goes wrong, there's usually not a lot of time to fix it. You have to maybe Band-Aid patch the whole thing and try to get it done, but sometimes it's just you can't.
Well, you've got to, like Harley's really a tough, quick rider, so he's still just on 4 faults here, which would put him right into 4th place if he can stay within the time allowed. But that's looking a little close, too.
And this horse can jump. Wow. What a great 9-year-old mare. Just the one rail down. Makes it under that time allowed, 76.65 seconds. That's going to put him in the 5th place with the 4 faults.
I still don't understand. It's been a year now, and Harley Brown's picture still comes up on the FEI database as Matt Williams. So I don't know. They've got their Australians confused, I think.
So Harley Brown, just that one rail through that triple combination aboard My Lord Coronet. That'll be 4 faults, 76.65 seconds. Now that puts them in the 5th place. Placings 1, 2, and 3 will be determined in the jump off at this point in time. And Emma and her Mount Apex with the one-time fault now in 4th place. We see that gate opening up as we go back to the riders for the host nation of the USA, Jenny McAllister, and the Swedish warm blood, Escada VS, a 12-year-old chestnut mare.
Right, and we haven't seen Jenny McAllister out here much. She's moved from the West Coast more to the.
She's
still on the West Coast,
still
but
on the West Coast. I was
not California.
Not California. No, they left California. They have part of their base. I was talking to Steve McAllister, her husband, part of their base in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and they went out to Saugerties, New York, to do the $500,000 Grand Prix out there, and they stayed out there a little bit as well. So they travel a lot.
Right. I mean, we are glorified carnies, like I always like to say. So, and sometimes, you pick a circuit or you pick horse shows that you think suit your horse best. And if you've got numerous horses, then you try to pick horse shows that will suit a number of the horses. If you've got young horses going and you need to go places that, gives them the best experience.
Well, and it's always neat talking to Steve because they have their long-term goals as well as their short-term goals. They want to make so many World Cup finals. They want to jump so many Grand Prix clear, et cetera, which is, I think having those goals certainly does help.
Sure. You have to plan ahead.
Sometimes I stick with the statement, if you don't have a plan, nothing can go wrong. I mean, that's... So great job so far. Clear round for Escada VS and Jenny McAllister for the U.S.
Yeah, this horse is jumping very well, and it's been a while since I've seen her, but she looks like she's really fit and strong. Again, a little tight on time.
And the A element comes down.
That's too bad. Did that stay up?
That did stay up. So 4 jumping faults. That was a heavy rub on the final fence, but it stayed up. 12A, that was the culprit there. 4 jumping faults, 74.73 seconds. Puts them into 5th place. They are the fastest of the 4 faulters. But still 3 clears. And Mariah Cowley sitting in 4th place with the one-time fault. Jim McAllister just moved into 5th. Harley Brown now slips down into 6th place and into 12th spot. That's the final ribbon placing. That's Ali Leopold Moreno.
All right, so we had 3 clear rounds in a row, and that's like nothing in the early stage, nothing toward the end. All right, so we're skipping a horse in the order. Not sure if that one's a scratch or if it is.
I guess we'll find out in a little bit later on. As Mariano Nagy looks like he didn't make his spot for Sweden. So Morgan Kaplan and A. Kumania is a 14-year-old Bay Gelding. They're up next. This rider for the USA. Yeah, Morgan Kaplan, the rider and the owner. This is a Royal Dutch Warm Blood sired by Namelasar.
I don't know what the A stands for.
I do not know either. I'll probably have to ask Morgan.
And Mandy Porter's been helping her out a little bit with this horse.
And that's always a very, very important thing. I know with yourself and your business, you have Max helping you out, Max Dolger helping you out on the ground as well, and you help Max, and it really, to have experienced people on the ground certainly is such a huge benefit.
Right, because sometimes things feel different than they look, and you've really got to have, someone that knows what they're doing on the ground helping you. And certainly if you've got a rider helping you that has experience, that's really helpful.
So here we are through that triple combination, nicely through the B. Ooh, and nicely through the C as well.
This horse has been jumping well. I feel like she's been knocking at the door these last few classes.
Ooh, little slight touch at fence number 8, which is that plank, but it stays up. As you mentioned, flat cups at fence number 8 for the plank.
Right. If you breathe on that, it's coming down.
And especially because that one, compared to a lot of planks, that's actually a lot skinnier, so that means it doesn't have as much weight to it.
Right, and this horse is jumping really well. I do think she's a little too close on time. She's not going to make the time, but she'll be really happy if she can just have a clear round with a time fault. I think she'll be thrilled with that. Yep, really good.
Oh, what a great ride.
Super.
Morgan Kaplan for the USA, A. Kumania with just that one time fault, 78.83 seconds. But you see that expression right there. Morgan
think
Kaplan
she's thrilled with that.
super happy. I mean, that was a solid ride. That was beautiful. So we come down to this final combination. There's 12A and 12B.
Horse
Great
is jumping
focus.
beautifully.
This horse is jumping great.
I'm pretty confident that she's going to go Saturday night.
I hope she does, because it would be, the way the horse jumped tonight, it's relaxed in the ring. It jumped beautifully, great form. Well, Andrew Ramsey will be joining us next in the ring aboard Stranger, a 13-year-old gelding.
Sired by Staccato. There's an awful lot of good Staccato horses that are sired by Staccato or Staccato Gold that have been very good horses.
Mm-hmm. So that's certainly, those. I know that the FEI and a lot of horse shows now are putting on all the bloodlines, because the
Which I
bloodlines
like,
are very, very important.
Well, and I think it's fun, it gives you kind of something to compare to. And this horse has a lot of blood, which I think most of the Staccatos do. It's got a lot of, it's a light type, very energetic.
And I do
Simple
have to
there.
say, Andrew Ramsey, I love his style. He's very, very quiet with his upper body.
Oh, sure. He's super, very smooth, and he actually shaved quite a bit off that turn. I don't think he'll ever have to worry about this horse having time faults. It's quick in the air. This is very tidy and handy and easy.
And I always think it's so interesting when the horses spot the fence and their ears perk forward like that. And this is such a super 13-year-old gelding.
Yeah, very experienced, the two of them. And I think he's actually, he's so efficient on the time. Like, even a fast 4 fault score here, if we were to have a jump down, we'll probably still end up in a ribbon, possibly. A little deep there, but this is a really quick, handy horse, huh?
Super
Way under
horse.
the time. Oh, did we? We did.
Oh.
That's all right. He'll still get in Saturday night, and that's really why he's here.
Well, I honestly think Saturday night, this could be the duo to watch for. That was a beautiful ride. And that was Stranger and Andrew Ramsey for the USA. 4 jumping faults. Just an unlucky fence, number 13, the time 73.36 seconds. As you said, if you had a rail with that time and how efficient he was going to be the fastest of the 4 vaulters, and that indeed he is. Well, Burt Much for the USA. This horse owned by Out of Air Incorporated. Belgian warm blood, 10-year-old gray gelding known as Johnny Cash. And this horse signed by Cicero Z. Okay, so far we had those 3 clears in a row, and at that point in time I was
You were thinking it was going to get easier.
I was thinking, wow, it's 3 clears in a row. It's these people have figured out the secret of Alan Wade, but Alan Wade is such a master at course design.
Yeah, and this really is just, it's a nice qualifier. I didn't think there was anything too tricky about this. There's nothing super technical. The oxers are maybe a little wide, but it's a nice class to qualify for Saturday night. Saturday night will be much more difficult, obviously, and but I think that this is nice for young horses. I walked it, thinking, would I be able to do this with my 8-year-old, and I think it would be fine.
So the B element of that triple combination down for Burt Much. Oh, and fence number 7 back rail in the oxer as well for Burt Much and Johnny Cash.
So now he's going to take his time here. I think he's not going to really worry about the time allowed, and he's just going to try to give the horse a positive experience because he is trying to bring this horse up through the ranks, I believe.
Well, so he has 4 jumping efforts remaining, and right now sitting with 8 faults. Possible time. Actually, I'm going to say he's going to have time.
Oh, that was quick. That was quick. He kind of looked up into the stands like maybe he thinks the horse saw something up in the stands, but there isn't really a whole lot going on here in the stands, so it's hard to say, but that was a little quick.
Yeah, this horse certainly did not like that side of the. It veered away out even after it jumped the.
Right, and that can happen here. They tend to move off the rail pretty quickly. It's they for whatever reason. It could even be the sound of their own feet, reflecting or echoing a little bit off the stone wall. It's possible.
Well, so 16 jumping faults, and we'll also add on 6 time faults. The time 98.60 seconds. Here he comes into this triple combination. Jumps the A nicely. Just doesn't get across that oxer.
Well, and that could very well be that he got a little distracted by something against the wall in the first part and then decided that he was a little worried about it against the wall of the next line.
Well, Deluxento is an 11-year-old gelding, this bay gelding, and Royal Dutch Warm Blood, starred by Cardento. Craig Starr, the rider for the USA. No, Susie, you just put a jacket on. The wind picked up just a smidge. It got a little bit chillier here as we were getting that breeze off the ocean.
I brought my long coat, and I have a beanie here just in case, because once the sun goes down here and it gets breezy, it can get chilly.
Now, for the horses, does that change things? Going from, it was a beautiful, beautiful, warm summer, sunny day today. Now it gets a little bit chillier. Do they get a little hotter?
I think so. I think the horses like it when it's a little bit cooler.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't terribly hot today, but it was very nice. But I think the horses like it at least my horses like it when it gets some of them might get too fresh, when it gets a little colder. But it's not cold yet. We've certainly been here in May. I think May is usually cooler here than it is here in October.
So far so good after fence number 5. Clear round for Craig Starr and Deluxento. They come down to that triple combination. Now some riders have had problems. We had to rub at the A.
So far so good.
Okay, so he's making that turn 8, 9, and 10. So he comes kind of across that diagonal. There's the plank.
Oh, that was a little cheap. It just cut down a little bit early there.
No 4, and then unfortunately fence number 11 coming down. So fence number 10 and 11. He's sitting at 12 faults as he heads for home. which is correction, 8 faults as he heads for home. And that's going to make it a total of 12, 76.07 seconds, and just out of our top 12 ribbon placings, puts him in a 13th in our $36,500 CaptiveOne Grand Prix Qualifier. And here's fence number 10. This was the one where he cut down just a smidge early.
Maybe just shifted a little, cut down a little early. Yeah, I didn't really see a real reason for that to happen.
Just some tough luck for Craig Starr. Beautiful ride. Unfortunately, rail starting happening at fence number 10. And then fence number 11 as well, and he had the final fence down. Well, Donatello, this is an 8-year-old gelding, young horse here. Super experienced rider, however. Ashley Bond for Israel. This horse owned by Little Valley Farms. This is a Westphalian, signed by Diorado.
Ashley has really good instincts. You know, she doesn't always count a number like from 1 to 2. She just trusts her eye and her balance. She knows she's quick. You know, she's not usually someone we ever have to worry about having time faults.
Exactly.
So, you know, she just trusts her balance and trusts her eye, and she doesn't worry about having to do a specific number in order to make the time allowed with those distances that are maybe, you know, 7s, 8s, and 9s, things like that.
And I mean, this is a young 8-year-old gelding. Ashley Bond, super experienced. Not the biggest horse, certainly in the field. This is a nice, small packaged horse. It's super quick across the ground, quick over the fences, and got a pile of jump.
Right, and he's looking very confident. You know, we were in Sacramento a couple of weeks ago. I don't know whether Ashley showed here last week with this horse, but you know, she got into a little bit of trouble and didn't end up jumping the whole course there in Sacramento. But I think that tonight he looks like he's come back from that like it never happened, and she'll be well within the time. So there we go. Very easy clear round.
What a great ride as always. Ashley Bond and Donatello. Well, and that horse only 8 years of age. What a super talented horse owned by Little Valley Farms.
Yeah, very simple.
Now that is a neat horse. Donatello, 8-year-old gelding, Westphalian. And we see Ashley Bond and Donatello here over fence number 10.
Yeah, that was very uncomplicated, relaxed.
And this horse just explodes off the ground. Super. So Mariano Maggie,
yes, okay,
possibly
so
something may have happened in the
right,
ring,
he
like
might have pulled a
lost
shoe or something. He was supposed to go 13th in the order, and they're
this is
fitting him in now.
Sanvano, a 10-year-old gelding. And Mariano's his student, O'Neill. Well, she qualified, went clear board clockwise at Green Hills. He's qualified for the jump off.
Right, so she's certainly coming back for the jump off in a strong fashion. This horse is jumping well.
In fact, Mariano rides for Sweden internationally. And this horse is easily taking these meter 50 verticals and oxers.
Yeah, very scopy. I don't know this horse well at all, actually. Very tidy time-wise, so he's fine on time. So far, this is looking like a very nice clear round, and he does ride well.
Oh,
Simple
nicely
enough.
done. 74.05 seconds and a clear round for Mariano Maggi and Sanvano. That means we have 5 for the jump off. And in fact, 4 nations represented in the jump off: United States, New Zealand, Israel, and Sweden now.
All right, so that's our 5th clear, right?
That is our 5th clear. And just a great view of Mariano and Sanvano coming down to this last of the combinations. Horse gets up so nicely in the air.
Yeah, really nice behind.
And with all the room he had with the time allowed, he could just relax to the last oxer. Well, Ali Leopold Moreno back in the ring. This is her 2nd ride. Valentino du Soleil, a 10-year-old gelding. Celle Francais, sired by Sandro Boy.
Okay, she had the first jump
She
down
had
on
the
both
first-
horses,
oh,
didn't she?
She did.
It's always so annoying. It really takes the wind out of your sails.
Well, in her first horse, she had the back rail in the oxer. This one, it was the front rail in the oxer. Do you think she maybe pushed to try to ensure that she got across that, or just you kind of go, you know what, it is what it is?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. But this horse is starting to actually look quite seasoned. She's brought him along in the last couple of years, and he's starting to really look experienced.
And this is a 10-year-old gelding. I gotta say that is a tough way to start. That first fence down on both your horses.
It's disheartening. A little rub there, but I'm not sure how that stayed up. She
Unfortunately, fence number 10 down.
she rode past that a little bit, and I think just pushed that front rail out.
So right now 8 faults as she makes that turn down to fence number 11.
I think she's going to be over the time too.
Horse shifted a smidge there.
Yeah, I mean, he really does try to be careful. Nice solid ride at the end.
Well, so 8 jumping faults, 1 time. We're going to make it a total of 9. The time 79.58 seconds for Ali Leopold Marino and Valentino Dusoleil. Fence number 1 and fence number 10. Unfortunately, those are the culprits there for Ali Leopold Moreno, and also the time factor as well. So they will not break into our top placings. And here's as she comes down to the first fence.
Yeah, that was a little bit. I mean, he was a little flat, maybe across the jump, but
well, Viggo Bjorklund is the next challenger in our $36,500 Captive One Grand Prix Qualifier. Viggo Bjorklund is aboard Zalo Bay, rides for Sweden internationally. And this is a Swedish warm-blood 12-year-old gelding.
he won one of the bigger classes in Sacramento, and we were there a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a great young rider for Sweden. And so far, this is the 20th in the order out of a field of 65. And of those 20, 5 have gone clear.
So a fourth. That's about as much math as I can do.
Yeah,
now.
yeah, pretty much.
So he's going wide in the turn here, but he's kind of continuing his pace. This horse really tries to look for where the jumps are. I really like this horse. It's not the prettiest horse in the world, but he really is very efficient, and he tries hard. He's always looking for the jumps.
Look, it's fence number 11, 12 AB, and 13. That is all he has ahead of him.
He's close on time, but I think he's all right.
So look at
Oh,
back rail on that
that's
oxer.
unfortunate. That's too bad. And just under the time allowed.
Well, just under that time allowed, as you mentioned, of that 77-second time allowed for jumping faults, 76.32 seconds on the leaderboard and into 10th place. But you know what? That's the first of 2 rides for Viggo, so we're going to see him back in just a little bit. And we see that rail come down at fence number 12B. That fence has come down a number of times.
Yeah, I will say the rails are kind of happening here and there. There's nothing really specifically that looks that tricky.
And Polina Dulesco, that is our next horse, Hanoverian, or sired by Perigo. And this is a 10-year-old mare. Caitlin Campbell is the rider. She's back in the ring. This is her second ride.
Caitlin's very talented. It's nice to see her getting into this, into the bigger classes now, because she won quite a lot at Split Rock. She won several of the bigger classes there.
No, she's a superb professional rider as she comes into our triple combination. We're going to see if second time is a charm, because I'd love to have this rider in the jump off.
She's super competitive, very fast.
Got
A little
a smooch
quiet
tight
there. Yeah. And she's tiny, huh?
She is very, very tiny. Oh!
Yeah, just got a little dull there, a little quiet and a little stalled off the ground, I thought.
And Caitlin is another one of those riders that this is definitely not the only class that she's been in today. She's been in a pile of other rings.
Right, she's very busy. And, you know, because she's little, sometimes when a horse suddenly falls behind the leg, she doesn't have a long leg to be able to reach the horse very easily. So she's at a slight disadvantage in that regard.
Well, 74.72 seconds, 8 jumping faults. That's going to put them out of our top placings. Yeah, that is just some tough luck there with those 2 fences down for Caitlin Campbell. She had quite the ride. Here's fence number 10. And just down on that, and hopefully we can continue on and we can see, because this horse got a little wiggly between 11 and 12.
Especially, yes, so I was going to say, especially down this last line, got really crooked, and maybe that's because of having the jump down, and the horse just tried to be a little extra careful, but she really had to kind of cowboy up there just to get it done, so she doesn't give up.
No, that was an impressive ride. I mean, unfortunately it came down, but she really had to cowboy up, keep that horse focused online of what the next job was, and that was coming into that second of the combinations. So far our leaderboard, Carrie Potter, she was the first clear, Uma O'Neill, Georgina Bloomberg, Ashley Bond, and Mariano Maggie. So those are the 5 clears on the leaderboard so far. Those will be the 5 clears on the judges' cards with the 1 time fault. And that's Emma Brackhout sitting in 6th place. Morgan Kaplan also with a 1 time fault. She sits in 7th. Andrew Ramsey in 8th place. Jenny McAllister in 9th. Currently Vigo Bjorklund in 10th. Harley Brown in 11th. And Nick De La Joyo in 12th place.
All right, so here we've got Zazu Hoffman and Samson 2. One of the older horses in the class tonight, 15.
So a 15-year-old gelding here, Samson 2. As Susan Artez had mentioned, 27-year-old professional rider Zazu Hoffman, source owned by Woodacre Stables, Swedish warm blood, started by Cardento.
I know Zazu's like looking forward to trying to qualify for the World Cup final with this horse.
And Zazu and Samson too, they've had quite the career so far and have done quite well internationally. This is a great combination. Zazu Hoffman for the USA, Samson too, that horse owned by Woodacre Stables. As she tackles fence number 4 onto the skinny fence number 5.
No problem there.
Here's that triple combination, 6A, 6B.
There's really not much this horse hasn't seen. So this should be an easy class for him. But, you know, sometimes with older horses, sometimes easy doesn't mean easy. Sometimes they, you know, need to be challenged a little bit. And if it becomes too easy, they halfway through the course, sometimes they'll start to jump a little low because they don't think it's very hard. So sometimes they can misjudge things. Although this horse is really good about holding himself away from the jumps, giving himself a little space. This is feeling like a clear round to me.
It certainly does. I'm looking at the time, though. Time shouldn't be a problem.
It's close, though. You're right. Just got to make it up here. Yep,
There
she should
she
be
does.
all right.
Clear round, 74.73 seconds. So Zazu Hoffman makes it 6 for the jump off.
How many do you think we'll have clear tonight? We've got 6 clear out of 22. We've got an awful lot of good horses to come.
And nicely ridden through that second of the combinations. And Zazu kept the gas on coming down to fence number 13. Because you can't fall asleep at any point in time on this course, or else the time's going to get you.
Well, unfortunately, Samson is a horse, you know, he's won a lot because he is fast, and he's fast across the jump in the air. So fortunately, he does not really spend a whole lot of time in the air. If he did, she may not have made the time allowed, but he doesn't, so she was fine.
I got to say, I really like this next horse. This is an 8-year-old gelding known as Jiminy Cricket. Horse owned by Melanie Brooks. The rider, Carrie Potter, she was the first to go clear. And this is a young horse, 8-year-old Westphalian, sired by Calestis. Oh,
A little deep there. That's all right. I mean, I don't think these horses, he doesn't have a lot of experience, you know, under the lights and these conditions. So he's a little distracted tonight.
so 6A is down as well. We're sitting on 12 faults. But I think this horse has a super career ahead of him at this level. This is a great 8-year-old gelding, so just coming up to this level.
Yeah, now he's starting to settle a little bit. He's still looking, I think he's looking at the Jumbotron down. I think he's looking at himself on the big screen a little bit.
And I always forget that, yes, because fence number 4 and fence number 5 coming more or less down the center line is coming towards that Jumbotron.
Right, and at night, you know, with a young horse, they haven't seen that very much. But finished beautifully, I think.
Great ride, 75.29 seconds. Carrie Potter and Jiminy Cricket, 12 jumping faults. So they will not change our top placings, but Carrie Potter, you know what? She's going to be the first back for the jump off in our $36,500 CaptiveOne Grand Prix Qualifier. And we see Carrie Potter just coming towards fence number 4 here. And you're right, they are jumping straight towards that Jumbotron, and the video image is going on the Jumbotron as well. So
right. It's something moving, and you know they're not really sure what it is. But then certainly after the beginning, we started to kind of get more comfortable and more seasoned. And
Mauricio Ortega Valles is our next rider. And Rally des Etoiles is the partner of Mauricio.
what does that mean?
I am not 100% sure. And this is an 11-year-old stallion. This rider rides for Mexico, competes for Mexico.
Oh, so annoying, isn't it?
First fence.
A little rub there at the second jump. It does annoy me as a rider if I have the first jump down to then rub the second jump. Then I'm really annoyed.
Oh, fence number 4 is down.
Yeah, this horse doesn't look that experienced. Let's see. He is 11 years old, but I don't really know the history here. Skimmed that a little bit.
Touched that one as well. And touched all 3 elements of that triple combination.
We're close enough where we're sitting too that, you know, you guys at home may not be able to hear the rubs as well as we can. Although you probably heard that one.
So fence number 8 down. We're sitting at 12 faults.
They can hear the rubs.
So you can hear what we can hear. You can hear the rubs. That's good to know.
So we're coming down to fence number 11, 12A, and 12B. We're sitting at 12 faults. 12A is down.
All the way down.
So we're going to end up, well, with time faults as well. Total of 18 faults. The time, 82.06 seconds. So 16 jumping and 2 time. And so right now, they will not change our top placings. You can see that ranking on the screen into 22nd. Well, I am looking forward to this jump off because the 6 we do have Carrie Potter, O'Neill, Georgina Bloomberg, Mario Maggi, Ashley Bond, Zazu Hoffman.
All fast.
All super, super fast. Love to add this rider to that list to make it 7 to come back for the jump off. He's aboard Caillou, source owned by Signy Ostaby. A Holsteiner, started by Casal. This is a 12-year-old gelding. Carl Cook, the rider for the USA. Carl Cook ended up on top in the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Sacramento just 2 weeks ago.
He did. It was an amazing jump off. I mean, it's been so much fun to watch these classes. The horses are getting faster, the riders are getting faster, and he was just spectacular.
And I do have to say, based off of Carl's picture there, his hair's also getting longer.
Yeah.
And this is a neat 12-year-old gelding. Caillou, Carl Cook, great rider for the USA.
Yeah, and Carl, you know, he enjoys bringing his young horses along, and this is one of those horses that he's brought through the young horse ranks, and I think it's very satisfying for him to be doing as well over the meter 60 courses as we all hoped this horse would become that, because he did look so promising as a young horse.
And Carl's neat when he rides this horse, because kind of that last stride, he just puts his hands right on the neck and just lets the horse do its job.
He does a little bit less. I think he was exaggerating that for a while there, and I think it went wrong a couple of times because he didn't quite have enough of a connection, but now he's sort of, I think, compromised, and he's following the horse on that last stride, but not completely letting go. And I think that's a part of why he's straightened out, and the horse is really trusting him now. This is looking like a very simple, clear round.
And the neat thing about this horse jumps every fence pretty much the same way. Beautiful round for Carl Cook Caillou. Well, my wish was granted because I wanted to have him in the jump off, 75.22 seconds. And in fact, he gets into that jump off round. And we have 7 for the jump off.
And then also looking really solid for Saturday night, I believe.
Just a beautiful ride. This horse jumps amazing through this combination. And on a fence
really
in the 13.
straight. You know, this horse used to shift quite a lot, and I think he was, you know, Carl would allow him to shift by letting go, and now he's not doing that quite so much, and the horse is straightening out and getting really quite seasoned.
And Carl's another one that usually time is never too much of a factor for him. He always rides a very, very efficient track. Hanna Moritzen for Sweden. That's the next rider. And this is an Irish sport horse, Parkmore Lux, horse hired by Luxie. This is a 14-year-old gelding.
Hard rub there, right? But got away with it. And she's had this horse for quite some time, and they're a good partnership together. I think she didn't think she was going to quite get up there in the 8. Not really sure why that happened,
No.
Davin. It looked simple enough, so I'm not really sure exactly what went wrong there. It was a little bit like a bad video game there.
That is just, there's the wave there, so she will retire. And that is too bad, because to that point in time, then all of a sudden the horse got really sticky just down on the far
I'm not
side.
really sure why. We'll have to see on the video if we can, on the replay, if we see anything awkward there, but everything really looked quite smooth and comfortable, and then for some reason it just kind of fell apart. She was a little deep there, but looked all right. Yeah, not really sure.
It's almost like the horse just somehow cut down over top of that oxer, and then kind of the same thing here.
Well, there she really just didn't get down the 6. She struggled through the combination, and she just wasn't able to pull herself together quickly enough.
Because there's certainly not a whole bunch of people on that side of the ring.
No, certainly the crowd on that side is not a factor.
And Emaraiko back in the ring. His rider right now sitting in 8th place as the fastest of the 1 time faulter. So she's got another chance at this. And this is Kubiki, a 10-year-old stallion. I know we talked in Sacramento, really like this combination together.
Yes, I do. I really like the two of them together. And I think Apex is the seasoned one, this one being younger. And but, you know, really a nice type for her.
It looks like she has a little bit more of a pace going on her second ride.
Right. Well, I think Apex, you know, his way of going is just a little quieter. Oh, that was kind of too bad.
Oh. Okay, so we hear that sound of the tone, the sound of the bell there, as with the refusal. Unfortunately, fence number 4 was dislodged, so we're going to have to reset that oxer on course. 6 penalty seconds will be added to the running time, also assessed 4 faults for the refusal.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, it looked like she was there all right, but again, under these lights, heading toward that jump, the video screen can be very distracting, and this horse is only 10 years old, and we don't see that often out here. We don't see. He's looking at something. He's looking actually a little backward. I feel he's, and again, a young stallion. 10 is still young, and he might be thinking about the other horses back outside the gate. But he just looked like he was looking back behind him rather than in front of him. Let's see what she's going to do here. But, she needs the mileage, and so does this horse. So I don't think she's one to retire. I think she's going to try to just do the best she can here. She's not a quitter at all. Sometimes you need to quit if it's the right thing for the horse, or if you really feel like something bad is going to happen. But in this case, he's just knocking jumps down. So I think it's better that she keep going, get the mileage, and hopefully the two of them will become better because of it.
So right now sitting with 28 faults. She comes in that last of the combinations. That one came down as well. Also, time faults will be assessed.
Yeah. If she knows she's not competitive, again, you need the experience. So, I mean, probably one of the worst rounds I've ever had in my life, or I maybe should have retired. I came in on the next horse and won the class. So I think that sometimes it's better to keep going when you need that experience.
And that's the truth. So a total of 34 faults, the jumping faults plus the time faults. The time 84.96 seconds. Here's fence number 3. That one came down and then just had some tough luck. As you said, it looked like she got him to a good spot, and he just...
Yeah, I think it took her by surprise, but, it's possible that the reflection of the lights on that Liverpool was just something that took him by surprise.
Let's go to the riders from New Zealand. Guy Thomas aboard Jonquière Z, a 17-year-old stallion. And this is a Zangashada, or sired by Jet Set D.
Guy being a new father.
Yes, he is a new father.
And Johnny's one of our favorite horses out here on the West Coast.
He's got such great personality.
Been
He's
there
such
and done that, and took Carl Cook to the World Cup final, I think, on more than one occasion.
And 24 Carl.
And you were mentioning up in Sacramento, this horse would have gone onto the World Equestrian Games with Guy, but unfortunately had colic surgery.
Right. And their Guy did left a stride out. He and I talked about that a little bit because, he's a big horse with a big step, and we talked about whether he should maybe do 7 strides there to help him make the time allowed. Little rubs there. Oof, the rubs through all 3. Stay active here. And, obviously Saturday night is more the goal for this horse and rider together. So even if he has maybe a time fault or a jump down, I don't think that that's going to worry him so much. He just needs to have a good enough round to get in for the big money on Saturday night.
So Guy Thomas and Jonquière Z making that turn for home. I don't know. Time could be a factor.
Yeah, it's close. But again, I don't think that's going to bother him too much. He could also... Yeah. Quiet in the 6. Go. Oh.
75.43 seconds, clear round. And we see Leslie Wright. That is, Guy's wife there, and the mother of his young baby. So we have Guy Thomas, Jonquière Z for New Zealand in the jump off.
Excellent.
What a great ride. Had a little bit of a tap there, and it was a good tap at fence number 13, but it didn't.
He was close on the time, but I think that was very smooth, very well done. And this horse, honestly, at 17 years old, looks like he's 9 again, even having had colic surgery. It's really impressive.
Well, honestly, I wish I looked that good.
When you were 17?
Well. Vani Koshla, go back to the riders for the USA. She rides and owns Dragonfly de Longchamp. And this is a 10-year-old mare, started by Clinton.
And Vani and I are friends, and we're kind of excited because we're at the fairgrounds, and they've got the Scream Zone going on here, So they've got like the little haunted mazes, and we were talking about maybe trying to go this week and catch some of those haunted houses around here.
I will leave you to that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'll tell you.
We can't have you screaming or anything, and we might lose your voice for the next day.
Well, and I kind of live by. Oh, that is just too
Ooh.
bad.
All right. It just looked like she didn't quite straighten the horse out soon enough. She stayed in a little bit of a right bend there through the turn and just didn't quite get the horse's eye on it soon enough.
Now, is this a fairly new mount for Vani?
A little bit, yeah. I think she's had the horse maybe about a year, I'm thinking.
The 10-year-old mare here. And yes, I'll wish you good luck with your haunted
Well, by the way.
mazes and because I kind of live by the whole, he who runs away just lives to run away another day.
I guess there's that. Let's see. This horse is very scopy. It jumps all the jumps very easily.
Yeah, and that is just some tough luck just at that vertical. Fence number 3, as you said, kind of didn't seem like she got the horse's eye on it.
Right. I mean, it can happen to anyone. I think it took her a little bit by surprise.
And this horse jumps. Wow.
I know. It's really a nice horse. That's too bad. Well, that's unfortunate because certainly the horse wanted to have a clear round. It was just kind of a very minor mistake, but caught up to her.
88.84 seconds, 4 jumping faults for that refusal, 4 faults for the rail at the final fence. We tack on 3 time faults for a total of 11. So unfortunately, that's going to end Vani's day this evening. Love to see her here on Saturday night for the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Del Mar. And the next horse is Foster. This is an 11-year-old gelding. We're started by 4 edition. This is the Hanoverian. Alessandra Volpi, the rider for the USA, young rider here. Comes out of the same barn as Emmerich.
Right, with Harley at Olivia Brown. Definitely the sun has gone down here, so now it's actually, I think the light's a little better than when it's, starting to go down. Uncomplicated there. Really quick horse. Oh, we're playing. Harley is trying to help her from the side a little bit. She was getting down that 6 a little quickly, but so far so good.
Ooh.
I think I watched this horse at Sacramento when we liked it quite a lot.
Yes. Ooh. This horse has obviously lots and lots of scope.
That was a little wild, but she's okay on time. A little shifty there. Oh, and easy in the 6 here, and she should be well within the time. Very well done.
Yes,
look at that.
Alessandra Volpi and Foster going clear, 72.36 seconds.
I think that's really exciting, and Harley must be thrilled.
Harley's got to be thrilled. I know there were a lot of people in the corner that we're sitting at right here that were trying to help
her
out
with the last jump.
Yes.
Yeah. We're sitting in the corner by the in gate, and so that last jump is right in front of us, and we can hear all the coaches when we're sitting here.
No, that was a great job, that young rider Alessandra Volpi. And she had to work for that
kept her cool
wall.
there, yeah.
Yep.
But she kept it at the, when you're clear and you're heading to that last jump, it's awfully easy to just get a little excited and push past it and have that down.
Well, Calvador Z is the 10-year-old stallion. Up next, Ken Dickey, the rider for the USA Amateur Rider, rides the horse owned by Rocking D Ranch. And this is Zangashada. And this horse owned by Calvero Z. Well, we can see the 9 names on that list to come back for the jump-off. Alessandra Volpi just added her name to come back for the jump-off round. Now, Ken Dickey usually out of Arizona. Actually, he's been traveling quite a bit showing.
Right, and it's nice for him. He's got some new horses, and I think out here in these last few weeks, he's I don't know how much he works with the Del Hoyos, but they've been helping him with his horses, and it's exciting, I think, for him to be in these bigger classes again. And Ken's got a lot of experience from way back in the day. He was riding in Grand Prix even as a young rider. Well done in the 8 there. And this 4, you know, people are handling that better than I thought, because I do think it rides a bit tight. So maybe they look at the Jumbotron and back away a little bit, which is helpful for them.
Ooh, little row on A. Take on B. But still clear so far. Okay, so we have that ticket fence number 7. We're coming down to the plank here.
He's a little bit, he took his time in that corner a little bit, which I don't think is a bad thing. But he's going to have to make up for it time-wise if he wants to have a clear round. He needs to get across this, and he's taking his time a little there. But I do think he would be very happy with a clear round and a time fault. And this is looking very well done.
I keep looking down at the time. There's that time.
Yeah, he's going to be over the time for sure, but I think he'll still be very happy with a clear round and over the time. Did that come down?
Well, just the one time fault, 79.53 seconds. He hit that back rail pretty hard on fence number 13, but luckily it remained in the cups there, and that's going to put Ken Dickey into 12th place.
Yeah, but I think that was very well done. I'm sure he's very pleased with that.
That was a great ride. You see him come through fence number 11, and here's Ken Dickey just sizing up 12A and 12B. And fence number 13, the horse.
Yeah, you can't even really see it there on the video. He looked back, he knew he'd hit it. So he looks very excited about that, and I don't blame him.
Well, Milan 4 is a 14-year-old gelding. The sound of the tone, Delaney Flynn, young rider for the USA, young professional rider, in fact. Yeah, this is a Holsteiner, sired by Lacino.
Delaney, one of our young riders here.
And a great young professional, 19 years of age, aboard the 14-year-old gelding, Milan 4. This horse does have a lot of fire in its belly. It's not the it's not a calm, quiet horse. I mean, this horse really likes to go and get the fences.
Right, but you know, sometimes a little fire is good. I prefer horses that have a little life and a little fire, and it certainly makes it easier when you want to go fast if they're already naturally thinking forward like that. Yeah, that
down.
Was unfortunate.
B is down.
A and B, and a rub at C. So already at 8 faults, I think she really needs to, if she thinks she's going to go Saturday night, she really needs to not have another jump down. Whoops.
Oh.
And another rub there. So my prediction is there's going to be another jump that comes down too. And I don't know what they've been up to, she and this horse, in the last year and a half.
She actually moved. I think she's working more on the East Coast.
Correct. Yes. But very talented. She's got a big future ahead of her.
Well, 74.15 seconds, 12 jumping faults for Delaney Flynn. So fence number 6A, 6B, and fence number 8 down for Milan 4 and Delaney Flynn, so they will not change their top placings. Here she comes in.
Yeah, just really didn't have enough height at A or B there.
Yeah. Well, just some tough luck, but as you mentioned, great career ahead of her, 19-year-old Delaney Flynn. And Georgina Bloomberg back in the ring. She is aboard Cessna. Georgina already with 1 in the jump-off, so she was already mastered this course, set by
Yeah, so and this is a seasoned horse that even at 10 years old that Georgina's done well with, and she's already got 1 in the jump off here, so She knows she's heading into the Saturday night class with her first horse. It is 1 horse per rider on Saturday night.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is a neat horse. Now this horse has a blue bit.
Right, that's become kind of popular, these sort of plastic rubbery bits in different colors.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure what the significance of the color is, but a little shifty there. But Georgina's really good about sitting still in the air, and even though, you know, she likes horses with a lot of blood too. That's a modern horse right now. It's not a cold horse. It's lively, a little bit hot, a little bit catty. That was beautiful. I don't know how big this horse is, but I know Georgina's not very tall, so I'm feeling like it's not a very big horse, and it suits her well.
After the next horse, we have a drag break.
So Georgina Bloomberg, so far, so good aboard Cessna. She already has 1 qualify for the jump off.
She looks good on time. This is going to be a hell of a jump off with Georgina having 2, huh?
It's going to be
Very nice.
great. In fact, yeah, she qualified both horses for the jump off. Clear round 74.57 seconds. We now have 9 for the jump off as Georgina Bloomberg and Cessna. In fact, Georgina has both her horses in the jump off.
All right, so that was our last horse. We're going to take a little break now for... Oh, wait, I lied. Well, our sheet shows a drag break at this point, but we still look like we're going to keep going for that. So we've got Konehito and Carol Wright. Before our drag break, apparently.
Carol Wright, the rider and the owner of this 17-year-old Holsteiner gelding. Well, Carol Wright and Konehito, they've had a great career. So far, so good. She won a Grand Prix a couple weeks ago.
And she's, you know, got a grandbaby now.
She does have a grandbaby.
Carol's a grandmother, and Konehito's, God knows, he's getting up there. But he's better than ever, too. It's so fun to watch these older horses just get better and better with age. Light rub there. Maybe that'll help her. Another little rub there. Come on.
Ooh.
He has a way of rubbing the jumps that he gets away with, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm. So Konehito and Carol Wright. Love to see this entry in the jump off. Nicely over B. C is good as well.
And she loves this horse so much. It's really a neat partnership.
It is interesting because, you know, some of the horses, they look like they're a little bit stronger through the mouth or in your hand. This one looks like he's nice and just, oh.
Yeah, I kind of cross-cantered there and didn't really keep his engine going so well.
Okay, so 4 faults. At this point in time, 4 faults will not break into our top 12.
Right, so tonight's not going to be her night. I think she's probably still planning on going Saturday night with him.
Oh, that one's down. Yes, that'll be 8 faults just heading for home. Time also will be a factor here.
Yeah, a little over the time allowed, so she finishes up with
79.08 seconds. That'll be 8 jumping, 1 time for a total of 9 faults. And so they will not change our top placings. So far, 10 coming back for the jump off. Raquel in 11th, 12th, Morgan Kaplan, those with the 1 time fault piece. But we're going to take just a little break in the action. Carol Wright and Konehito, as we see them come down. Fence number 12A comes down right there. Front and the back rail. Ended up with a total of 9 faults, the 8 jumping and the 1 for time. We're going to take a little break here.
All right.
We'll be back with the action in just a second.
Sounds good. We're halfway through.
Aquí está la marca, güey. Ahí está, ahí está, ahí está.
Well, Susan Ortez, we are getting ready for the second half of the $36,500 CaptiveOne Grand Prix Qualifier. And right now, at the halfway mark, we do have 10 clears, 10 coming back for the jump off.
Right, halfway through with 10 clear, so who knows what can happen now.
And so they work the footing, making sure the footing is perfect as always for the second half. And so everybody is on the same playing field.
Footing's always well done here, I must say.
And there's Alan Wade just walking back. He's just going to make sure that all the fences, in fact, go back up perfectly.
So, green means on, blue is stop. You're actually talking to him.
So yeah, in fact, we are getting back for the second half.
The Shimura horse is not going back, guys. Georgina's horse is not going back. Shimura. Thank you.
We
So if we,
just
in fact-
we just got word that Shimur, Georgina's horse, is not going to come back and jump off, which, you know, it's funny. I had a feeling that she may not because she's saving that horse for Saturday night and jumps so beautifully. There's really no reason for her to try to run around and you know, jump the jumps for this class when she already knows she's qualified. So we will now make that down to 9 that will come back.
So certainly 9 coming back for the jump off round. As Georgina, we were just told, as Susan mentioned, that in fact her first horse is not coming back. So she's going to save her first horse, in fact, for Saturday night.
Right.
But still a number of horse rider combinations here for the second half of the $36,500 CaptiveOne Grand Prix Qualifier.
So after our drag break, we should be starting back up with Mandy Porter and W.T. Kapow.
Yeah, and W.T. Kapow, that's a horse that Mandy Porter's been bringing along, bringing up to this rank. And these riders, they know when the drag break goes, correct?
Of course, and so, you know, they accommodate that timing-wise. And the warm-up arena here is a little bit of a walk from the main arena. And as you can see, it's pretty quiet out here. But it takes you, you know, almost a full horse. It takes a couple minutes to get up here. So I'm sure Mandy's just about to walk down the ramp.
Well, right now in 11th place Marakau. And 12th is Morgan Kaplan, both with 1 time fault apiece. With Emma have the faster time, 77.99 seconds, and Morgan 78.83 seconds. And in fact, there had been a little bit of a breeze coming off that ocean. Seems like that breeze has calmed down just a little bit.
Right. It's actually not very chilly here. Actually, you can see everybody's still putting rain jackets.
Well, it's because personally, I mean, granted, yes, I'm from Canada. I don't like the cold because I've been cold a lot.
I'm back.
So Mandy Porter is the first one back after the break. WT Kapow, a 10-year-old bay gelding. And this is an American Holsteiner Horse Association registered horse owned by Wild Turkey Farm. Horse sired by Chesapeake. And I do have one shout out to make. Because during the drag break, I was talking to Alan Wade, and Kevin Babington is watching this online.
Oh, that's exciting.
So, Kevin, great to have you joining us. And this is going to be a great event.
Yeah, that's great. And I know that they're selling some, signature sort of ties and shirts. Another jump down. Proceeds will help Kevin Babington's recovery. And he's certainly one of the strongest people that we have as a rider. So we know that he's going to attack this situation that he's been put in with everything he's got.
Well, that's a tough way to start. WT Kapow, Mandy Porter, fence number 1 down. Oh, fence number 4 down as well.
And this horse still gaining experience. You know, she's had this horse a few years, bringing him along as a young horse, but he is cautious, he is careful, and sometimes he makes mistakes, he gets distracted. But I think in a couple of years you're going to see this horse, under Mandy's guidance, just get better and better.
So when you've had that first fence down, then you have you and fence number 4, unfortunately fence number 8, you just kind of settle back and go, okay, this is going to be a schooling ride.
Right, so she's just going to try to give him mileage, which is what he needs. He needs to keep jumping courses, keep getting mileage. He's a little inconsistent, he's a little spooky, and some horses take longer than others. Some just whiz through these ranks very quickly between the ages of 6 and 10, and others take a little longer.
Well, it certainly looks like a nice way to end here. We're going to have some time faults as well. That final fence down, a total of 16 jumping. We're going to tack on 1 time for a total of 17 faults. The time 80.25 seconds. So Mandy Porter, WT Kapow. Not exactly how Mandy planned, but as you mentioned, this horse is just coming up through these ranks.
Yeah, I mean he's still green, and he still behaves green even though he's 10. He's a green 10-year-old.
So there's that second rail there at fence number 4. Well, Viggo Bjorklund back in the ring. He rides Carlson. This is an 11-year-old gelding, Hanoverian. Horse side by Contender 1. Yeah, and the second ride for this 22-year-old rider. Now, Viggo on his first horse just had the 4 faults.
Right, and I think that will certainly get him into Saturday night's class, even though we've still got a half a class to go. I think they take 40 for Saturday night.
I do believe so, yes.
So I think a 4-fault sculler should have no problem getting in for Saturday night.
And I didn't do the homework on this, but I heard somebody mention there were right around 53 riders, separate riders in this. So if they're only taking 40, that means unfortunately some people may not be making Saturday.
That's right, and I think some people that really were hoping that they would will now have to wait for their next chance to ride in a World Cup qualifier when we get to the desert in a few weeks. So far so good, uncomplicated. He's got to make up a little bit of time here, but he seems to know where he is time-wise. He's pretty efficient.
Well, his first ride came in at 76.32 seconds, so just under that time allowed.
Oh,
ooh, looking good so
gotta
far.
Keep it cool here. Gallop a bit for the time.
There, 76.13 seconds. Clear round for Viggo Bjorklund and Carlson. We now have 11 qualified for the jump off. We know 10, in fact, are coming back for the jump off, as Georgina Bloomberg's. They are not coming back. Georgina's first horse will not be coming back for that jump off. So, in fact, 10 horses will be coming back for the jump off round. Great ride, 22-year-old rider there, Viggo Bjorklund. Great ride through this combination. And right there off of B, he has his eye fixed on 13.
Yeah, I mean, really well done.
And just a solid ride. Well, let's continue on with Andrew Ramsey. He is back in the ring. This time, well, we're in California, and this horse is named California.
Not a bad name.
A 15-year-old mare. Well, that's a Holsteiner horse sired by the California Group. What am I saying? Not sired, owned by the California Group. The sired horse sired by San Padriano Cassini.
I mean, being sired by a group is not necessarily a good thing,
No.
Gavin. Just saying.
It's
Alrighty then. One was successful, which is good since Mandy knocked one down.
you know, sometimes when your brain's
we
going,
start giggling, yeah,
yes,
I know, we
when
just
your
have
brain,
to shut
yes.
up for a minute.
So Andrew Ramsey and
so 1 and 2
California.
went really well.
So coming down that center line here on offense number 4.
Oh, yeah, he really got there quickly, didn't he? Quickly, and I really feel like that rail kind
rolled-
of spun a few times before it fell out of the cups.
It
didn't
certainly did, and it rolled backwards.
It
out of the
did. It
cup.
rolled backwards. Yeah. So this is a really quick horse. I think he's got to do what he can to sort of hold this horse away from the jumps and be as quiet as possible because the horse tends to be quick on its own.
Ooh,
Rub there, but somehow kept that up.
Okay, so at 4 faults at this point in time, not in our ribbon placings. But again, these riders, they're looking to qualify for Saturday. Andrew Ramsey, I think he's qualified. I'm not going to guarantee he's qualified, but he is the fastest of the 4 falters on his first ride.
Right, so he should be fine.
Nice solid ride to finish off 72.09 seconds. Well, he was the fastest of the 4 falters on his first ride. He's now the fastest of the 4 falters on California with the 4 fault, 72.09 seconds. And a super ride. Very, very consistent rider there, Andrew Ramsey. Looking forward to see him on Saturday. And as we see him come down to fence number 4, this is the rail that spun and rolled off backwards.
Right, so you can see the way he hit it, it just kind of rolled and then fell out backwards, which is, you probably wouldn't notice that much if it were, you know, not striped, but because of the stripes, we can see the stripes moving.
Well, Escapado S is the next horse, and that is the gray 10-year-old gelding Royal Dutch Warmblood. This horse sired by Whitesnake. And Caitlin Denby Edwards, the rider for the USA. This horse owned by Mountain View West Farm. Okay, so we know 11 have gone clear to this point. We could have a full house, 12 ribbon placings with 12 clears. That'd be kind of nice to have.
Yeah, but I think we'll end up with more than 12. She's certainly hoping that she'll be the next one clear.
Little rub at fence number 2.
Whoops. Oh, another little steering issue there, but 1, 2, I think she's adding one there, but it worked.
Ooh.
I could be wrong. I didn't really count, but it seemed like she struggled a little bit and then came out. So she's got to make up some time here, Davin, even though she's working on a clear round. This horse spends a little time in the air, and because of that little awkward turn, I think she's going to be slow if she doesn't pick the speed up. I'm not even sure she can make up this speed at this point. She's very, very slow.
And those awkward turns, they just add just that much more.
Right. Even one step here, one step there in a corner, it ends up making a difference. And this horse is, takes time in the air too. So she's already at almost 60 seconds.
Ooh.
There's no way she's going to be able to get across here.
Unfortunately, that fence came down. This, as you mentioned, this horse really gets up in the air.
Right, and just stalls just a little bit. I mean, it's a careful horse and a really nice horse, but horses that do that, you need to be able to make up your time someplace else.
So coming home with the 4.
But a solid, good experience all in all, I think. Just over the time, not bad.
Just over that time allowed, 77.43 seconds. That means 1 time fault 4 jumping, total of 5. And that's going to put them out of our top 12 ribbon placings. So here as we come across that diagonal, fence number 8, that's 8 to 9. And then fence number 10 here, that's where that rail, the back rail happened. Horse really just hung up.
She tries so hard to be careful at the front rail and sometimes just doesn't quite cross that back rail.
Well, the Salute Robert Blanchette rides for Ireland. This horse owned by Elizabeth Killam. This is Magic Mike, a 10-year-old black gelding. Royal Dutch Warm Blood, signed by Zapatero VDL. And as we were mentioning in Sacramento, this is a great story because just a little bit over a year ago, Robert Blanchette had a serious accident in
very
the show
serious
ring.
accident. Broke his leg very badly, and they weren't sure he'd be able to keep his leg. And fortunately, he didn't have to have a prosthetic, and he's really fought back hard. It's been 14, probably 15 months now ago, and he's only been back riding for a few months. And I think he's really thrilled that he's able to get back at it,
Yes.
and that he has an opportunity to ride a horse such as this. And I asked him if this would be the horse he would do Saturday night, and he said we'll see how tonight goes. And he doesn't really have to designate a World Cup horse because he's only got the one, although he told me that if he did want to designate one, it would probably be Georgina Bloomberg's. He's a really funny guy. I love him.
Yeah, and that was quite the fall or the autumn that Robert Blanchette had last year. Aside from the multiple surgeries that he had to have,
Right.
also then his wife gave birth to twins.
Right, it was a very difficult year. So far, so good.
Ooh,
Okay,
very-
that can't tell. That looks like that stayed up. He had a hard rub there, so I feel like he's going to jump this vertical. Then he really kind of needs to ride across this next back rail, make sure the horse doesn't cut down again.
And Robert went really deep into that corner to come back to fence number 8.
And again,
Nice ride.
Robert knows what he's doing, and he's a little slow time-wise, but if I were him, and I think he's adhering to that same theory, that I don't think he cares about the time allowed so much as just having a clear round. And this horse looks really confident. Could certainly go Saturday night. So clear round with a time fault, no problem. I think he's very happy with that.
I think he's going to take that one time fault, 79.91 seconds. Robert Blanchette, he's got to be happy with that aboard Magic Mike.
Maybe he rides better after his little his trauma.
On Robert Blanchette, he is always such a fun guy to talk to.
Yeah, he's a good joke teller too.
So nicely through that combination, second of the combinations. We're at a little bit of a cross counter there down to fence number 13. That didn't affect anything. The time, 79.91 seconds. That was a great ride, Robert Blanchette, Magic Mike. So I'm thinking we're going to see them on Saturday night. But let's move on to the rider from Brazil, Cassio Rivetti, aboard Choco, a 13-year-old gelding. This is an Oldenburg sired by Choco Blue. And super experienced rider here, Cassio Rivetti. Had a little bit of a scary fall in the welcome qualifier up in Sacramento.
Right, in the jump off, that happened really quickly, but I think he's recovered now. Just got the wind knocked out of him for a minute there. And a nice short turn there, so he doesn't have to worry too much about the time allowed. He didn't give himself just 3 strides out of the corner to get to the combination. But again, this horse is pretty seasoned, as is Cassio, so that's not a problem. He doesn't really need to give the horse a whole lot more room than that.
Great ride of fence number 7 on a fence number 8 here. The tall upright, that skinny plank over top.
Yeah, you can tell when he rides strong. He sits very quiet with his upper body, but he sits down a little bit more because he tends to ride very light in his half seat. When he needs his leg, he sits down a little more. This is looking like a nice clear round to me.
Time's not a factor. Beautiful
Easy.
ride, clear round, 74.90 seconds. So Cassio Rivetti and Choco for Brazil. Brazil now has 1 in the jump off. So those nations represented in the jump off: USA, New Zealand, Sweden, Israel, and Brazil now, and of course the U.S. having the bulk of those in the jump off. But just a beautiful ride, Cassio Rivetti, as always. He is such a nice rider to watch. Up and over fence number 11.
Yeah, he made this look really easy. And I think this is moving up. I think this horse is a young 8-year-old that I've admired.
8-year-old stallion, NKH Darko's son. And Christian Heineking for Germany. This is a Royal Dutch Warmblood, sired by Darko. Horse owned by NKH LLC out of Dallas, Texas. Now, Christian rides internationally for Germany. He rides actually out of Weatherford, Texas.
Right, and Christian's another one who had a pretty major accident about a year and a half ago, and has taken his time coming back. And again, it's difficult for anyone to come back as quickly as they do after a major injury.
Ooh.
A little shift to the left there at the Liverpool, but again, this horse is young and inexperienced, and I believe this is the first time he's jumped one of these bigger classes on this horse. And certainly, Christian has not been in the Grand Prix since his accident. He's been jumping some lower classes,
and this was, I mean, as you mentioned, unfortunately, fence number 7 down there. But as you mentioned, Christian Heineking, for the longest time he was walking with the cane because he broke his thigh bone, the hardest one to actually break. And he was another one where the doctors weren't quite sure if he would ever ride again.
Right. So it's, and he's got to give this horse a strong ride. And so I think that it looks like if he finishes well, it'll be good. But again, this horse just doesn't have the experience that he needs, and this is a good place to get it. Certainly is a pretty jumper, and he's got lots of potential.
Okay, so 12 jumping faults, 81.85 seconds. That'll be 2 time faults added on for a total of 14 for Christian Heineking, NKH Darko's son. I think Christian's going to be happy with that. That's a great young, talented, super talented 8-year-old stallion just coming up through the ranks. You can see fence number 3 here. He had fence number 4 and fence number 5 down.
Yeah, he just, this horse has a big step, and he just ended up putting a kind of a funny curve in that track, and then he shifted a little left, but just a little bit of green horse stuff.
Well, and we're going to see Christian's wife coming back. She's a little bit further down in the order, so it's at this point in time, Christian can go back, report to Aaron Davis Heineking, kind of say how the course ran and how the course went. With Katie Harris next in the ring. This is a Zangashada, 11-year-old stallion, Lafino. It's rider rides for the USA. And I every time I see this horse, I'm super impressed.
I know. And he was so good in Sacramento. She was super excited in the World Cup qualifiers. She just had 1 time fault, and, he should be able to lope around this like it's really cross-rail hunters. He's so scopy.
And it just... every time he is so athletic.
Yeah, and they get along really well. She loves him and trusts him, and he trusts her, and it's a really fun thing to watch when you see a partnership like that. And this horse has given her confidence to start to jump some really big tracks.
So she put a little bend in that line from 4 to 5.
Right, because he's got such a big step, she kind of needs to. And he's another one a little bit like Guy Thomas's horse, that big, lopey, scopy, but sometimes difficult to make the time allowed on because of that. You have to make short turns and sometimes leave a stride out where others might not. So he's a little slow here. But I wouldn't have wanted to make that turn much tighter. And that caught him a little bit.
So unfortunately, fence number 8 and fence number 9 down for Lafino and Katie Harris. So at this point in time, just looking to qualify for Saturday night.
Right, and I don't think she'll have a problem Saturday night either. But sometimes he just gets a little quiet and a little slow, and she's got to react to that and make him quicker. Got a little quicker there. There we go. Nice way to finish, though. And I think good enough to get her in Saturday night.
I should think so. A total of 9 faults, 8 jumping plus the 1 time fault on the clock. The time 77.57 seconds. As you mentioned, a little bit pokey in places, but super combination. And so this is the one, as you mentioned, even before, as we were going through the turn, you said you didn't want to make the turn any tighter than that.
Yeah, but I think he just, I don't know. It's easy to from up here.
Yeah, no, exactly. So still the 12 clears, what I'm saying, still the 12 clears. 11 horses coming back. As we mentioned, Georgina Bloomberg, her first mount, will not be coming back for that jump-off round. So right now, automatically, that puts her in a 12th place, but we still have a number remaining. Now, those are the list of the clear rounds so far on that leaderboard. Our $36,500 CaptiveOne Grand Prix qualifier. And this qualifier for Saturday night, and that'll be the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Del Mar. And sur the Réseau Z as the 9-year-old stallion. Another stallion, a young horse, is a Zangashada, started by Chelano Z. Molly Hay is the rider for the U.S. And another one of these riders that all throughout the day, she was showing in all the other rings as well.
Right, a professional rider now working for Neil Jones and, kind of getting to know some of the local people around and she's getting to know this horse a little bit. She doesn't know it super well. Jumped in Sacramento. I think had a little trouble in the qualifier, but then I think jumped around respectably enough in the Saturday night class. See how far out they have to go with their track to fit the 8 strides in there nicely.
Nice deal with the beat. Oh,
getting a little low behind, yeah.
Okay, so far so good. That turn to fence number 8, tall upright.
Light, very light rub there. This is looking good though, and I think she should be okay on time.
I do believe you're right. Time looks like
a little close, but nice and smooth.
A little touch there. Okay, so she's got some time. Not a whole bunch.
Oh, pretty nice.
Ooh, 76.50 seconds. Just under that time allowed by half a second. But Molly Hay, and here's the Réseau Z. They will be back for that jump-off round, making it lucky number 13 to qualify for the jump-off. And here she comes in fence number 11, 12A and 12B.
Very efficient. I mean, she had some light rubs, but all in all, nice and simple and uncomplicated.
So Molly Hay, we're going to see Molly back for the jump-off round. And turns us to Casey Immense and Dexter R., an 11-year-old stallion, Royal Dutch Warmblood, started by Anamel Lassar. This rider rides for the USA. This horse owned by Lorna Investments.
Sometimes they're, looking a little bit at these white gates that they're not used to seeing.
Well, as you mentioned, that Alan Wade has actually brought in some new fences that these horses haven't seen for tonight, and I wonder what's going to be coming up on Saturday night as well.
Yeah, well, I like it when they surprise us on Saturday night.
No, that's always that interesting thing. I'm sure it's also interesting for the horses. Sometimes good, sometimes bad when you bring in some new stuff and they're going, whoa, I haven't jumped that before.
Right. I think it keeps a horse sharp.
Mm-hmm.
He does have a little bit of a different style, and so sometimes she has a little trouble making the time allowed. Tonight's time allowed is not particularly tight, so I think that she should be okay, although she's close. She's a little slower than I'd like to see, but...
I know Casey Ament and Dexter R., they had quite the summer, showing the Grand Prix up in Parker, Colorado, with a couple wins and some good Grand Prix. Oh,
Yeah, a little over the time,
Oh.
unfortunately.
78.33 seconds, one time fault. You'd mentioned that you thought she looked a little bit pokey at times. I know after fence number 2 that you could hear people in the crowd like clucking at her, trying to get her to move forward
Because
a
he was
little
a
bit.
little sticky, yeah, a little dull, a little bit dull. But she rode well, and sometimes you just have got to ride the horse that you've got at that moment. And if she felt like she couldn't do it without the time fault, she still has a good time slot for Saturday night. She's getting in for sure.
Angel Caroli for Venezuela aboard April Moon. This is an 11-year-old bay mare, a Holsteiner, started by Kinar. And this year, Angel represented Venezuela at the Pan American Games. He's done that a number of times. He has a lot of great international experience as well.
Right, he's jumped a lot of courses, and he's got good experience. Very quick there. He knows where he can make up time allowed early on in the course, which I also prefer. I think it's better if you can do that early in the course, and then that way if something goes a little bit awry, you've got a chance to take a little bit of time toward the end of the course if you need it.
I guess that's a valid point.
Doesn't always pan out, but
it doesn't always pan out, but sometimes if you need a little extra time, better to take it at the end than at the beginning.
Sometimes that's where you might find you need it,
Yeah.
It depends on the horse.
Oh.
Ooh, that was really, I would call that more than a rub, wouldn't you?
Yes. Okay, so 4 faults at this point in time. Angel just looking to qualify for Saturday aboard April Moon.
Oh. Not the night for him tonight, which is too
No.
bad because they're very quick in the jump off.
73.11 seconds, 8 jumping faults. Well, we see that ranking 28th right now, so he might be on that cusp of whether to qualify the top 40 for Saturday night.
I think he'll probably be all right. Remember, some of these horses that qualify tonight may not have plans of jumping bigger on Saturday night.
True.
Saturday night is a 1.60 World Cup qualifier. Tonight's a 1.50. So there's some of these horses that are not really ready or able to jump 2 holes higher comfortably. So I think that you'll see these 8 and 9 falters certainly being able to come back if they so desire.
Well, and we certainly saw fence number 8 with the hind end. It came down with distinction on top of that plank, and that's where that big sound came from. On to Denmark, Nikolai Heinroos and Cadillac. This is a 9-year-old Greg Gelding. This horse signed by Korlinski G as a Hanoverian. This horse owned by Spruce Meadows of Calgary. And I remember when Nikolai talking to him when he got the job with Spruce Meadows, he was super excited. That was number one. Prior to him going to Spruce Meadows, he'd never been there, and that was the place he always had always wanted to show.
Isn't that fun? Yeah, he's a great guy, and we actually just last week bought a 6-year-old that he has here from Spruce Meadows that they bred. So that's kind of exciting for us, and
That's super exciting
and fun.
And so the first of 2 rides for Nikolai Heinroos for Denmark. And he had a great show up in Sacramento.
He did. This is looking very uncomplicated.
Oh.
Maybe not complicated enough. Such a stylish jumper, though. It's a really attractive horse.
Well, unfortunately, fence number 6C down for 4 faults to this point in time, nicely over fence number 8. But as I mentioned, Nikolai Heinroos, he does have a second ride that'll be coming in the 62nd spot in the order.
Right, we've got so many horses in this class this evening that, even with 2 horses, having your first horse go, 46th in the order.
Yes,
There's
yeah.
still plenty to come.
So 4 jumping fault, 75.30 seconds. Nikolai Heinroos and Cadillac, well, right now 22nd spot with our ribbon placings going through to 12. just nicely through that triple combination, but unfortunately, right there, just a slight touch with the front end.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to really place blame there on Nikolai. Just a little bit of a jumped slightly too low there. But just under the time, a little bit under the time for faults. He'll come back Saturday night if he wants to.
And Delaney Flynn back in the ring. Carlos B.H. is a 10-year-old gelding. Horse owned by a Rocking D Ranch. And that's Ken Dickey's ranch.
It is. Rocking Dickey.
And this is a Royal Dutch Warm Blood sired by Namal Asar. And Delaney Flynn, great young rider here, 19 years of age. Ooh.
Wow. You can see that rock there.
So she's coming down to the triple combination. So far, so good. A little push over that.
This looks like a good match, these two.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Jumped out of that well.
So she had to move up a little bit to fence number 9.
Yeah, I feel like she needs to make up a little time here, shorten her reins, put things back together again. She could certainly have a clear round here, which would be great for her.
Over 70 seconds right there. I don't know if she can get it done in that time.
I don't either. I think she's going to be too close. Yeah,
Yep.
she's not going to quite make it.
That is just some tough luck there for jumping faults at that final fence. One time fault added on that clock. The time 78.79 seconds puts them into 27th spot. I still think she's got to be happy with that. I mean, that was a nice ride for her.
It was, and she needs the experience of getting in these classes. And it's really nice to see her here with 2 horses in the ring.
Well, NKH Corrido, that is the next horse. Matish Fenker, a rider for Germany. This horse owned by NKH LLC out of Dallas, Texas. So this rider, in fact, rides for Christian and Aaron Davis Heineken. And this is a 9-year-old stallion, a Dutch warm blood.
Again, a little bit on the younger side at 9 years old. And I really enjoy watching him ride. He's very smooth. He's really doesn't make many mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. He's such a pleasure to watch. Always gives every horse just a nice, solid ride.
And really just out of the young rider ranks. I mean, he's still only 26 years old, so got a huge career ahead of him. Beautiful there. Very talented young stallion. Everything always looks slow and calm when I watch him.
Yes. Yeah, he never panics. It's always a.
Well, at least not that we can tell.
It always looks like it's a very calculated ride.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like he's hurried for the time allowed, but he's very efficient with his track. Set his hands a little bit low there maybe, but, you know, it's working, so. Beautiful. Now he needs to make up a little time, which I think he's doing. He landed, he went forward, shaving the top of the ring off there. He really follows a plan beautifully.
I think the time could be a problem here.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yep.
No, I don't think he's going to make it.
Nope. I think he's still got to be happy with that ride. 78.36 seconds, 1 time fault on the clock.
How many one-time faulters do we have, Damon? We've got
so far we have six
wow.
with 1 time fault. That's going to put him into 16th spot. But as you mentioned, that's a young stallion, a 9-year-old stallion here, and a great solid ride.
All right, so we're getting word that Zazu Hoffman and Samson 2 are also not going to come back for the jump off. saving him for Saturday night's class.
Here we go, Jose. Antonio Shipley. Jose representing the country of Mexico. He's on the 11-year-old mare named EIS Isora.
EIS Isora is the 11-year-old chestnut mare. And Jose Antonio Chedraui, the rider for Mexico, or the Belgian warm blood, this 11-year-old mare, sired by Tinka's Boy. This rider, another young rider here, 26 years of age. Now, as we know, two horses not coming back for the jump off. That is just to save the horse for
Right.
Saturday.
I think, tonight's class, even though it's an important ranking class and what have you, but at $36,500, woo!
Ooh.
Whoops.
What do we have here?
That's a little naughty behavior. A little bit of a gate issue there, maybe. So I don't think that this is going to be that easy to fix. Let's see. He's still, this is early on in the course, so he's still got to be able to turn a corner and go away from the gate again.
Well, with that and the stop of motion, obviously, the 4 faults assessed for the refusal.
And then the time that took as well. So let's see. Naturally, he's probably not going to want to touch a jump. And then we'll see as he turns away from the gate again whether the horse is willing to go away from the gate a second time. And that looks all right. But obviously no chance of making the time allowed here. That looked like maybe that's happened before, so I'm sure that it didn't rattle him too much. Now he's just got his head back in the game.
So we see those time faults. Time faults under FEI or International Equestrian Federation rules, 1 time fault per 4 seconds or part thereof over that time allowed. So
like I said, naturally didn't knock a jump down, but
that is just too bad.
Still winding up with
4 jumping, 6 time, a total of 10. The time 97.96 seconds puts him into 36th place. Just looking at the list of those that are a little bit ahead of him, some have two horses in those that are ahead. So as you mentioned earlier, some may not be going on Saturday, and some with the 2 they can only pick 1. So, but that was a fast.
That was really quick. I mean, it just kind of came out of nowhere.
That is just some frustration.
Bratty, but he's still kind of trying to maybe pet the horse a little bit and just kind of make the horse relax a little bit. That seemed to help.
Brings us to Nicole Honert and Calgary 4. This is an 11-year-old mare, a Holsteiner, sired by Casal. This horse is owned by Cherokee Show Horses. This rider rides for the USA.
See you at the barn.
I was talking to Nicole's husband, Ryan, and I accidentally called this horse Calgary 5 at one of the horse shows, and he's like, well, if I could have a Calgary 4 and a Calgary 5 and a Calgary 6 and a Calgary 7, he's like, I would love to have all of that. Unfortunately, fence 4 is down, but they have such huge hopes, and this horse has a lot of potential.
Yeah, a little bit of a hard rub there coming out of that line.
Okay, so far with just the 4 faults. I think time might be a little bit of a problem here.
Yeah,
as well.
I think so too. She's going to be a little bit slow. But again, I don't think she's too concerned about that. Oh, maybe she's going to be all right. Will she make it?
A little touch of the last fence. Ooh,
barely.
76.19 seconds. 4 jumping faults for Calgary 4 and Nicole Honert for the U.S. Once again, their time 76.19 puts them ranked into 24th spot. But Nicole Honert super happy with that. This is another one of those riders that rides all day long. So we come down to the one and only rail at fence number 4.
Yeah, and I think the horse just shifted to the left. You know, it's easy to see that from this vantage point. It wasn't a lot, just enough to have the jump down.
Well, we saw Christian Heineking just a little bit earlier. And I don't mean to say this, but this is Christian's better half.
Yeah.
Aaron Davis Heineking rides for the USA aboard Leone, the 10-year-old mare. This horse owned by October Hill Hunters and Jumpers of Weatherford, Texas. And this is a super duo. We saw this combination in Sacramento.
Right, and she, like some of the others on the qualifier night, got into a little bit of trouble in the jump-off. It was a difficult jump-off with the double that a lot of horses and riders had some trouble with. And then that kind of caught up to her a little bit on Saturday night as well. So we'll see how tonight goes. But a super talented horse. And I know that Aaron really enjoys riding her.
And Aaron and Leone, they have had some nice success at this level of competition. Because this certainly is not it's not their first rodeo, not their first time.
No, certainly not. And I think she wants to give her a nice solid ride in light of how Sacramento ended up a couple of weeks ago. So this is looking very uncomplicated, and maybe she's a little slow, but I don't think she cares as long as she can be smooth. And this is looking very simple for this horse. It's jumps are so easy for such a scopy type.
And time certainly will be a factor here. But
yeah.
Oh, and that final fence down for jumping faults one time, the time 78.72 seconds. That fence number 13's come down a number of times.
Yeah, you know, I think the horses fall in a little bit on the track there to the last jump, and it does get a little short in the 6, and if it's wide enough, if you don't have enough leg, and the horse shifted just a little to the inside, the 6 got a little short, she didn't quite have enough leg to help the horse get across.
Well, and that's interesting, because if we go back to prior to the start, prior to that first horse coming in, you mentioned fence number 13 is a wide oxer.
It is a bit wide, yeah.
Well, Anna Ishiyama is up next. This rider rides for Japan. And this horse, an 11-year-old gelding known as Clint Eastwood, a Holsteiner, started by Clearway.
Again, this horse has a little bit of an awkward style sometimes.
Well, and Anna Ishiyama as well, just kind of moving up to this level of competition.
Right, and this horse has given her a lot of confidence to, you know, learn how to jump big jumps, and she can make mistakes, and the horse is forgiving, and so she's learning how to ride these bigger tracks.
So down on fence number 3, down on fence number 4. And I guess that is one of those things. You do have to, you don't just step out of the meter 10 ranks and say, oh, well, I can ride a meter 50.
Right. I mean, that's not a good way to think. If you think that's that easy, you're bound to find out the hard way. That's not the case.
I do have to say, when you watch the top riders, they do make it look that easy.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, something broke there. So part of her breastplate there, looks like it came apart. So that's going to be a little distracting for the horse slapping around there.
Down.
Yeah, I think he notices it. I mean, it's got to be distracting for the horse there.
Oh, and that final fence came down as well. And I actually think the final fence, he didn't touch that back rail. It was the.
Oh, you think so?
I think it was the strap that actually.
Yeah, it's possible because, I mean, distraction alone, it's really hanging down there pretty low, and these poles are sitting very lightly in the cup, so it's entirely possible. Sometimes, no matter how much you check your equipment, things still fail you at times.
And Glomzilla, the Rev, is entry number 270. Nick Delajoyo back in the ring. This rider rides for the U.S., an Irish sport horse. This horse owned by Wembley Farms. So second time in the ring for Nick Della Gioia. He, in fact, went 9th.
Yeah, so he's had quite a long break between his two rides. Very solid from 1 to 2.
Now, as a rider, when you have that much of a break between your first horse and your second horse, how do you stay warm? Or do you stay warm? Do you stretch? Do you just...
Well, I think you got to keep moving. You know what I mean? You just kind of try to keep moving. And like I said, it's not super cold tonight, but you just want to keep moving. Horse stretched across that oxer a little bit, but this is a very talented horse and rider. Whoa, he's going to have to kick out, which he did. Okay, so this horse is getting almost a little too careful. So he knows it, he feels it. He's going to jump this, took his time a little there to let the horse regroup. He's got a little strong away from the gate there. He knows he's going to have to ride across this width, which he did. So he's very good at feeling and reacting to what the horse needs right now. So he's using pace to think about that time allowed, and he knows he's going to have to probably ride across this oxer as well.
Okay, he's flirting with that time allowed, I
I
think.
think he'll be all right. If he can get across this, I think he'll be fine. Yep, there it is.
Ooh, there's that clear round.
Very well done.
de Rev, Nick Della Gioia for the USA. That will be clear. Number 14, second time is a charm.
So we've got 14 clear, but 12 electing to come back for the jump off. And we still have about, how many do we have left? About 20 left, do you think? 10?
We're probably right around 10, 11
about
left.
10, 11 left. So we could still have 4 or 5 clear rounds left.
Well, Calypso Vanazutova, and this is our 11-year-old gelding, the rider Laura Height, the rider and owner, in fact, and rides for the USA. And Laura Height, an amateur rider, she has a full-time job.
And she raised 3 children.
And which is another full-time job on top of that. And
yeah, it's really nice to see her, getting into these big classes after so many years. She's been riding as long as I have, I think. Back when we were 7, 8, 9 years old.
ooh.
Oh, yeah, that's unfortunate.
Kind of looked like she had a little bit of a. She really had to ride or a struggle to get to fence number 4.
She did a little bit, and then the horse just got a little backed off here. So I think she needs to, put a little leg on. Yeah, she's not quite crossing these oxers. I don't know if she's got a stick in her hand or not, but it wouldn't be the worst idea. She at least needs a little cluck at this next oxer, I think, and just to give the horse confidence to get across. I'm wanting to cluck. And it's hard, a horse with a big stride like that. She's giving it a good ride here, and it's not that she gave it a bad ride earlier, but she just needs to be a little bit stronger. He's being very careful.
We're coming on with 8 faults. I think time's going to catch them as well.
But finished up, confidently enough. Not to be too worried.
Well, so 8 jumping, 1 time, the total of 9, the time 79.58 seconds. That amateur rider, Laura Height, and Calypso Vanazutova. Well, total of 9 puts them into a 38th spot. Currently on the leaderboard, our $36,500 CaptiveOne Grand Prix Qualifier. And Fena is the next horse, a 9-year-old mare. Cassio Rivetti back in the ring. This is a Royal Dutch Warm Blood, sired by Juraco Blue VDL. So this rider for Brazil, he already has 1 in the jump off. So this could be his second one in the jump off.
It could. Let's hope so. So he added a stride there, and as long as you're quick across the ground and make short turns, like this looks like a very short turn, it really doesn't matter if you do 8 or 9 on a horse that can bounce its step like this. But I think in the back of your mind, if you decide to add a step up that first line, you do know you're going to have to make up for it somewhere else.
Well, he had a ticket fence number 4, fence number 5 coming down for this 9-year-old mare.
Yeah, the horse really didn't make much of an effort there, did she?
Ooh. 6C down.
And then he added a step there. So, not feeling like this is going to be his night on this horse tonight, certainly. But again, you know, even with jumps down and you know that you won't be in the prize giving tonight or win any money, you still have to give the horses enough of a positive ride so that the next time they go in the ring, you have a better shot at it.
That's certainly a nice way to finish here.
Yeah, and really he doesn't care about the time allowed at this point either, so.
So 8 jumping, 1 time, the total of 9 faults, the time 78.46 seconds. But we will see Cassio Orvetti back in the ring. He qualified his first ride for the jump off, so he's going to be back aboard Chaco. And just joining us here in the ring, Shenwa McIlvaine. This rider from Lematar, New Mexico. The horse owned by Guy McIlvaine is Wall Street RC, a Swedish warm-blood 12-year-old gray stallion. Horse started by Cardento. This rider rides for the U.S. In this pair, Wall Street RC and Shenwa McIlvaine, they actually had some nice success this summer out in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and around the United States.
Right, she's gotten a lot of great experience with this horse.
Nicely over fence number 4. Fence number 5, and we come down to this triple combination. Now we have Steve and Jenny McAllister that are fairly close to us, and they do help Shenwa.
Right, they've moved out there to New Mexico and are coaching her and helping her with.
And you hear them clucking a little bit. I think they're thinking she might be playing with the time.
Right, and she is quite slow here. She's definitely gonna be over the time allowed at this point. I don't think there's much she can do to make that up.
So fence number 10 is down, and yes, indeed, she's going to be. Right around 70 seconds, you have to be over fence number 12A.
Right.
Still a nice solid finish there. 81.67 seconds for jumping. 2 time. The total is 6. So Wall Street RC and Shenwa McIlvaine puts them into 33rd. Well, that was a nice way to finish, just the 1 fence down. She comes through this 12AB combination. There she looks for fence number 13. This is a neat horse.
He is. He really has been good for her. He's given her confidence. She's also, been someone that's had a serious enough accident to really take the wind out of her sails, and this horse has really helped her to come back confidently.
Well, Savannah Jenkins rides the horse owned by Georgie Masker-Segisman, this 25-year-old rider. And
we're skipping over 1 in the
we
order.
are skipping over 1. So this is Ramosov's Bamiro, a 16-year-old gelding, a Westphalian. We're started by Balubé Tehoe. Great young professional rider here as well, Savannah Jenkins. In fact, Savannah Jenkins, she hasn't spent a lot of time at this level. She's had some good successes, which really has helped her confidence.
Right, and she's a very fast, competitive rider, too. I think she's going to have a great career ahead of her. It's just really getting started now.
Now, talk to me about what is on this horse's face. Obviously not for Halloween.
Well, you never know.
Well, I mean, maybe it works at the Scream Zone after this, and you'll go and see this horse, and it'll be working over there, scaring people like me.
Well, I haven't looked closely at it. It does look like just a regular, ear bonnet for the flies, but I think it just sits a little bit differently, but I don't see that it has any other benefit necessarily. She does have some little blinders on there, but I don't think that's part of the setup, so I'll have to ask.
So looks like we're at 8 faults. And the time, 79.14 seconds. That'll be 1 time fault as well for a total of 9. And you're right, because those blinders, some of the new bridles, they have a little leather piece that sticks out a little bit more.
Right, or you can add those, but I don't feel like I don't really know, because she's got a separate bonnet, and I don't think that that's attached to her little Batman situation there. So I'll have to ask what the significance is of that. I'm very curious, actually.
Well, the Mexican Olympian up next, Everardo Hegovic, or Urkos 4. This is an 11-year-old chestnut gelding, Belgian warm blood. In fact, Everardo, the rider and the owner.
And he was great in Sacramento. Ended up getting a very good prize, I think, in the World Cup qualifier.
Yes, because he was one of the ones in the jump off, had 2 fences down in that jump off round, and this has been a great year for Everardo and Urkos 4, with just the 1 time fault in the AIG Million and at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I think he's having a fabulous time. This horse has a really big step.
Now with Sacramento, with a little bit of a smaller indoor than this indoor, the horses with the bigger steps, this indoor, it's not quite as, you don't have to package them quite as much, correct?
Right. Yeah, I mean, this horse is, he's got quite a lot of experience too, and he just, he likes to help Everardo out.
Little touch on the A.
I'm getting some interesting intel on Savannah's horse. The thing on his mask, on his face, it's maybe has something to do. It has some sort of a calming effect. I'm not sure why. I mean, I don't know. Could be like a thunder shirt. I don't know. I've never really seen it, so I will have to do a little further investigating.
Oh, that was a late rail.
That's too bad. It was late, wasn't it?
That was super late.
But again, he wants to go Saturday night, so he doesn't care about having a jump down as long as he's good enough to get in Saturday night. It's nice to win money and be in the prizes today, but not as important as Saturday. So,
well, 1 time fault on the clock, 77.82 seconds, 4 jumping faults on course for a total of 5 into 29th spot for Everardo Hegovic and Urkos 4. I think he's still going to be happy about that. As we can see, he definitely, there was that touch of the back rail. You could hear it, but it just kind of stayed there, and then it dropped late.
yeah, but it's so easy for this horse. Just cruises right around.
Yeah, that's a super, super neat. And Sarsagal aboard Camira. This is an 11-year-old gray mare. So it's owned by TK Farms and Horatio Street Ventures in Westphalian. We're started by Cristallo 1. And this rider rides for the USA as we turn the corner right around 6, maybe 7 remaining. Still not sure about Vanessa Hood and her mount.
I'm really not sure yet if maybe her horse pulled a shoe or what is happening there.
Which certainly does, it does happen.
It does, and then maybe something else went wrong, or she decided to go to the scream zone. Who knows?
Well, she didn't invite you? I certainly know nobody would invite me, because that's just
a liability.
Oh, that's yeah. I like horror movies. Can't watch them. I'll be up for months.
Oh, a little crooked there, but saved it. And then she's pretty tidy with her track here. A little quiet there. No problem. And the two, the combination does not ride long. So if you jump in a little quiet, as long as you've got a little bit of scope underneath you, you should have no problem getting out.
What's amazing is we also have 3 or 4 people behind us that are helping
Clucking,
Sarah. Which obviously Camira has a lot of riders at this point in time. The one primary one and the ones on the sidelines.
All right, she needs to make up a little time, but she can do it. The horse has a nice big step. That was pretty efficient.
Okay, got to be right around 70 seconds over it. Okay, she
Ooh,
looks
light
like
rub.
she's good.
I think she's okay, Davin. Well done.
Very.
Ooh, look at that time.
76.86 seconds. Clear round for Sarah and Camira. They will be back for the jump-off round. Well, 15 qualify for the jump-off. 13, in fact, coming back for that jump-off round. That means somebody's going to go home empty-handed.
That's right, But with this many in the class, I think that's still, it's a good number, but it's not
Yes.
like half the class by any means.
Yeah.
So.
I'd like to give a shout out to EQ International Real Estate and EQ Holiday. Proud to sponsor the Del Mar International Riders Labs at the north end of the Del Mar Arena. It is a beautiful place to sit back and
You'll see that list of those that are coming back for the jump-off round. We know it is 15, in fact, 13 coming back for the jump-off. But right now on the leaderboard listed all 15 riders with horses in the jump-off. And Akira Fortuna, this is a 10-year-old bay mare. Mackenzie Hudson, the rider and owner for the USA. Royal Dutch Warm Blood. Horse hired by Lexicon.
First of our final for the jump here in round 1 of our competition. Mackenzie Hudson joining us now, representing the United States. She is aboard the 10-year-old mare, Akira Fortuna.
All right, so she's coming off the right lead to the first jump.
Most have come off that left
They
lead.
have, yeah. It's kind of what struck me as different. It's nice to be able to get straight to number 3, but you can't take too much time doing it. Very nice jumper, this horse.
Now, Mackenzie doesn't look like she has the longest legs. Is that a hindrance or?
Don't ask me.
Oh,
I really think it. It just depends on the horse.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's an advantage, but she needs a horse that's got a lot of blood on her own, and maybe not too tall of a horse.
Oh, and unfortunately, fence number 10 down, so we're sitting at 8 faults right now.
Oops.
Oh, that's down. Oh, hang on.
Okay.
Okay, so that's another 4. She goes past fence number 13. She'll be
Yeah,
encouraged
so
to
she needs to
continue
kind of
going.
regroup in order to jump that last jump.
So she adjusted her hat there, and she's going to come down to this final fence. And that one's down. Well, the time 90.88 seconds.
All right, so 24. And we just have a couple left here. I think maybe 2 or 3
So
left.
a total of 24 faults, and that's with the time penalties and the jumping faults as well.
And we won't be seeing Vanessa Hood. I did get word that she was a late scratch.
Okay, so Vanessa Hood is a late scratch. And that's some unfortunate news there, as Vanessa won the $35,000 Grand Prix
Last week here, yes.
Just this last Sunday.
Yeah, on a different horse, but yes.
Mhm.
I imagine maybe we'll see her in tomorrow afternoon's class, possibly.
In our speed challenge. I know Adrian Ward, just overhearing him, he said there was probably right around 4, maybe 3 left. So we may have another change to the order, as I do believe that looks like Angel Caroli coming back in the ring. So I wonder if Nikolai Hein Rus will not be doing his second mount.
Here we go, first of our
And so the first of 3 remaining, Angel Caroli and Cooper, a 12-year-old gelding, horse owned by Joan Ho. That's a Royal Dutch warm blood. And this horse started by Viento Uno W. This rider rides for Venezuela. And so second time in the ring for Angel Caroli.
Always is nice when you've got 2 horses. You know, you've already ridden the track once, and so you kind of know the feel of where the jumps are. Coming out in the 8 strides. And he's making up a little time here. I'm sure he'd like to have a clear round here and be able to jump off tonight. You know, you can never get enough time jumping off. The more you do it, the better you get at it. So far, so good. Very simple, nice. And jumping a little bit. Trying to be a careful horse. How is he on time, Davin? He's you know, he's got to keep going. He's all right, but he's borderline.
He is borderline. As long as he's at that right around, if he's at 69 seconds, come over 12.8, then he should be good.
Oh. That's too bad. I think he'll stay with 4, hopefully. Yeah, and under the time, but not by much.
76.53 seconds. Angel Caroli and Cooper. Well, unfortunately, fence number 12A down for yet another horse rider combination. And that is just some tough luck. We would have loved to have had that rider in the jump off. So we see fence number 12A coming down.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Well, 2 remaining. Matthias Svenker for Germany and Nikolai Heinorus. Nikolai, in fact, we were just told that, in fact, his horse threw a shoe in the warm-up ring, so we have the blacksmith, the farrier, they're tacking that shoe back on.
Right, so we will be seeing him. We're going to wait for his shoe to be put back on, and that might take a few minutes, and not sure about the other 2. We've still got 2 on our class sheet.
So I do believe Matthias will be next, and then Nikolai, and unfortunately, Jose Antonio Chedraui. I do believe it kind of sounds like from the our ring announcer from Adrian Ward that they are a scratch.
Okay, so basically we've got 2 left. Matthias is moving up in the order to give Nikolai's horse a chance to get its shoe put back on, so that may take a couple of minutes. And as I said, it takes a good minute and a half even to just walk here from the warm-up area.
Now, with that, with losing a shoe, I guess depending upon how far into the warm-up you are, because it's not instantaneous that they tack that.
No, it's going to take a few minutes. I mean, they have to, providing they found the shoe, which it sounds like. I mean, usually they do, but then it'll take the farrier a few minutes to put that on. So you know, it could take even 10 minutes or longer by the time they get the shoe back on, and then he's got to still warm up. So we may be on hold here for a few minutes.
And that is one of the nice things when it comes down to these great events, is that the blacksmith would be there just ready to
standing by.
Yeah. So this is the $36,500, and this is the CaptiveOne Grand Prix qualifier for Saturday's $100,000 Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Del Mar, with just 2 remaining here in round number 1. So far, 15 qualified for the jump off, but 13, in fact, are coming back for that jump-off round, as Georgina Bloomberg has opted out of the jump-off aboard her mount, as well as Zazu Hoffman and Samson, too. They will not be coming back for the jump-off round. So we just have a beautiful view right here, and that is the in-gate.
Yeah, I can see the racetrack behind it. So we're at the fairgrounds of the Del Mar racetrack, so you can see a little bit of the track there behind the entrance to the warm-up arena.
And this is in Delmar. This racetrack opening day is massive.
Yeah, it's really fun.
It's always interesting because like all the colorful hats you see here,
Right.
and everybody dressed to the nines, and it's just it seems like a would be actually such a fun day to go to.
Well, and we're usually competing down the street often at the Del Mar Horse Park. So, but we usually get to see the aftermath of all the people coming from the racetrack and the local restaurants and what have you. That can be very entertaining.
People watching is always
Oh,
fun.
for sure. And so here we've got Matthias.
Matthias Venker and NKH Caruso. Now this horse, 15-year-old gelding, owned by NKH LLC of Dallas, Texas. And this horse sired by Cash and Carey. This rider rides for Germany.
Our final two to compete in round one are CaptiveOne from Prix Qualifier and Spanish Venker. Again, representing Germany, he's won the 15-year-old gelding Caruso for NKH out of Texas.
So the second ride for Matthias. This is a more experienced horse than his first stallion.
Sure, that stallion was quite young, and it's clear with the time fault in this more experienced horse. I'm sure he's hoping he can, he rides very quickly in the jump offs no matter what he's on. So
No, and I always find it very, very interesting how all the horses go in a frame and how they hold their heads, because you look at this horse and then you compare this horse's head to like Lafino's head. It's a lot more pokey out.
sure.
And I guess just on how they.
That's a little bit their conformation, the way they're built and the way they're trained. And, each individual rider sometimes likes to have a horse with a little bit of a lower frame, and some of us prefer the horse's head to be a little higher.
Well, great ride so far as he tackles fence number 7 with absolutely no problems at all. And Cage Caruso, 15-year-old gelding.
Very nice, and I think he's fine on time. He needs to keep going. I sure would like to see him in the jump off, though, because being toward the end of the class, knowing that he's a fast rider, it should be really fun. Ooh,
So he's
lucky
good
there.
on time. He had that rub there. Keep it up.
Really well done.
Oh, 75.13 seconds. Matthias Venker. Right now, he will be the last one back for the jump off. I know we have one remaining, but Matthias did move up in the order, so technically he will be the last one to go in the jump off round. And a Crusader Z, that's our final horse right there. And this is a 10-year-old gray mare. You see Matthias, beautiful job
That
over
was
fence number
beautiful.
10. And just kept the pace up, cut that corner off just a little bit.
Yeah, he's so efficient. He just seems to always know where he is time-wise.
And Nikolai Heinroos, the rider here for Spruce Meadows of Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And Crusader Z, horse sired by Choco Blue. This is a 10-year-old gray mare. And a Zangashada by breeding. And so Nikolai Heinroos rides internationally for Denmark. Here's the last to go in round number 1. So obviously that shoe tacked on fairly quickly. So right now 16 qualify for the jump off, 14 to come back for the jump off as far as we know.
Ooh, he made up time there, but that was a little bit risky there. This horse is talented, has a little bit of a funny style and kind of reaches across the jump like that.
Ooh, A element down. But super quick with the front end, like it snaps up.
Yeah, it's a very quick horse. And again, like a lot of talent, and I think Nick has putting good rides in on these horses that he's started riding from Spruce Meadows, but it's going to take him a little time to really get the horses as rideable as he wants them to be. Oh, running out of mouth there. Needs a little bit more brakes there.
So coming home with 12 faults, 2 rails down, and that circle, that'll be a constitutive refusal. And then we cross that finish line, 84.01 seconds. And 12 jumping 2 time for a total of 14 for Crusader Z and Nikolai Hein-Rus. Well, 16 qualified for the jump off, 14 in fact will be back for the jump off round. There's that first rail, kind of barely touched it.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, we're going to clean up the ring a little bit, and we'll be back shortly for our jump off.
Yes, we'll be back in just a moment.
Allá en el otro.
She went to the border to Tijuana. Deja a party over there. Now, see you later.
Competition here. One round Prix Qualifier. We have 16 clear rides. Now we're just going to see 14 coming back for the jump off. Georgina and Zaza both elected to scratch one of their horses from the jump off competition.
So we're watching the start list of the $36,500, and that is our CaptiveOne Grand Prix qualifier. This start list for the jump off. It's going to show 16, but we know that Georgina Bloomberg, that third in the order, she will not be coming back for the jump off. And Zazu Hoffman Sampson, too, will not be coming back for the jump off as well. So 14, in fact, coming back for the jump off. Oh, the jump off, shortened course, time allowed 45 seconds. And they have two brand new fences in the jump off.
Right, so we are starting with number 15.
So off of fence number 15, they're going to start with an oxer. Chances are they're going to be coming off the right lead, I'm assuming, to fence number 15.
I would assume so, yeah. So 15 is that GGT footing green oxer.
So that's the one right beside the GGT footing. That's the one right there. That's 15.
Oh, right.
Yeah, then they come down to fence number 15 onto the EQ Realty, our fence number 16. From there, left-hand turn 6A and 6B. They've removed some of the fences here in the ring. So 6A and 6B straight down to fence number 7. Left-hand turn on to fence number 8. And then 9, and then 12B.
Right, so it's a nice jump off. There's nothing really tricky. There's no, I mean, you can certainly do 8 strides from the double on up to the oxer, but I think it's going to be an efficient jump off. And I think any of these horses that are planning on going Saturday night would probably not be going as, fast as they possibly can because they want to save themselves a little bit and not make their horses jump too flat for the Saturday class.
Now, one of those things to note, fence number 8, which we can see just in the bottom part of the screen here, that was, it's still a vertical, but the plank is now no longer on top, it's on the
Right,
bottom.
sometimes they'll do that for jump offs. If they've got a very careful jump like a plank on flat cups, sometimes for the jump off, they want to encourage people to go a little quicker, so they replace it with a regular pole, and it looks like it's in regular cups now as well.
Okay, so this is going to be a very, very, very fast jump off with 14, in fact, coming back for the jump off round. Time allowed 45 seconds, as mentioned. Only really one change to the rule, and that's with the time faults. The time faults, they add up in the amount of 1 second, one time fault per second or part thereof over that time allowed of 45 seconds. I think we're going to have a super fast, quick jump off. And the first back will be Carrie Potter, followed by O'Neill, Mariano Maggi, Ashley Bond, Carl Cook, Guy Thomas, Alessandra Volpi, Georgina Bloomberg, Vigo Bjorklund, Cassio Ravetti, Molly Hay, Nick Delajoyo, Sarah Siegel, and Matthias Schwenker. So he is in that kind of fun position, and that is the last position to go in the jump-off round, as he's going to get a chance to probably see a number of these horses go beforehand. Our wonderful jump crew just making sure that all those tire tracks, they are off the arena. So I think we're in for a nice quick jump off. Carrie Potter, she's going to start us off aboard the 10-year-old mare. That's just jumping up to this level. And that is the Westphalian. And she'll be aboard Ariel La Serene. So we're giving the riders just a little bit more time to warm their horses up for the jump-off round.
Right, it is, like I said, it's a little tricky because we're a long way, not a long way, but long enough from the warm-up area that, you know, you can't really always gauge as quickly as you need to get here. You think you're all ready and you're, you know, it takes a couple of minutes. And here she comes.
Now, she was 6th in the original order. So coming back, this has been a couple hours. I'm assuming the horse probably would have gone back to...
Sure, yeah, and then they have to re-warm up again. And that's why fitness is for one reason, the fitness is so important, because these horses have to stop and start again.
Also, Carrie Potter and Ariel Lasaren, the first to test out this jump-off course. Time allowed again, 45 seconds. Start of fence number 15, 15, 16, 2 brand new fences, 6AB, 7, 8, 9, and fence number 12. That's going to be the final fence in the jump-off round. And here's the 10-year-old mare, Ariel Lasaren and Carrie Potter for the USA.
And again, you know, this horse doesn't have a ton of experience, and you know, Carrie's always a very fast rider, but I know that she's going to want to give this horse a nice positive round. I don't know if she's planning on going Saturday night. She may, you know, I think we'll be able to tell by the way she rides this jump off tonight. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, I like the 7 strides there, and then you can roll back pretty tighty here, but after having that first jump down, she'll probably just keep it smooth. And then there could be an 8 here. But I think, you know, trying to be conservative, she just did the nice 9 there. Really good jumper. I think she's very excited, like I said, about this horse.
Okay, so just one more effort remaining, and that's the gallop across the ring. Listen to the vertical.
A little shifty there. Yeah, again, I think it's hard for a horse to come out again at this stage of the game. It's just not a very experienced horse.
Well, that's too bad. That first fence down for 4 jumping faults. The time 40.60 seconds. And that was our first rider back, Carrie Potter aboard Ariel Lasaren. And nicely over fence number 7, the rollback turn to fence number 8. And this horse jumped the vertical at fence number 8 beautifully.
Yeah, super pretty jumper.
Nicely over the GGT fence number 9 as we're watching Carrie Potter, those last couple fences in the jump off. O'Neill for New Zealand aboard Clockwise of Green Hill Z. And this is an experienced duo at the World Cup level, 12-year-old Grace Stallion.
And I think, you know, Uma always likes to try to kind of go for it. So I think she'll do the 8 from the double down there. Here's the 7. A little bit of a rub there.
Makes that left-hand turn. Give another vertical. There's the auction, another rub as well.
Okay, so she also opted to do 9 there. I mean, I do think the 8 would be the ride if you're trying to win, but she looks like she's trying to just have a nice, smooth but tidy round in preparation for Saturday night, which I think is smart on her part. No reason why she can't gallop here a bit for sure. But this is very responsible, which I think is important for her to prepare for Saturday night.
Well, 37.45 seconds, double clear. New Zealand in the lead with Uma O'Neill and Clockwise of Green Hill Z. So clear and even just a little bit faster than Carrie Potter by over 3 seconds. And nicely over fence number 8. Here's that coming up to fence number 9. White Oxer there. Great turn in the air as well.
Oh, he's such a lovely horse.
A great ride down to this last. That's a tall vertical at fence number 12B. And so Mariano Maggi and Sanvano, they're the third of the 14 back for the jump off. Time to beat 37.45 seconds. Easily over that first fence.
Okay, so he did 6 strides there, which when I walked, I thought was there. You know, and I think didn't really change too much for him there. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, there's the 8.
Okay, so he's left out of stride on 2.
Right, so far he's smooth enough. And he's putting a bend in the 5 there so he can make a little bit of a quicker turn here.
That was a beautiful turn.
Yeah, and he's very tidy there with his track. This is a very good round.
Little kick through that finish line, 34.43 seconds, puts, well, Sweden into first place. Mariano Maggi and Sanvano, they take over first spot here in the CaptiveOne Grand Prix qualifier. And a full 3 seconds faster than Uma O'Neill.
Right, and easily you can figure that out. He left a stride out in the first line, a stride out in the second line, and he was a little bit quicker here to the last jump with his track. So you can certainly see. And I think someone could also do the same thing number-wise, but maybe has just a slightly quicker track. And Ashley, we know, is very fast all the time, so she could certainly do it.
And she's aboard Donatello. This is the 8-year-old gelding owned by Little Valley Farms.
There's the 7, but again, 6 or 7. She's a little tidier than he was back to the last jump. I mean, sorry, back to the double.
That was a beautiful ride down to that double.
And there's the 9, but again, that allows her to maintain control and be smooth here. And I'm sure she wants to go Saturday night on this horse and wants to keep her cool a little bit.
Well, and this horse can turn on a dime.
Yeah, and Ashley's always faster than you might think she is.
Ooh, 34.93 seconds puts her in a second place. Ashley Bond aboard that young 8-year-old gelding, Donatello. I think that smile says it all. She is certainly happy with that. Moves into second place.
Yeah, so she wanted to be quick, but she didn't want to, she didn't want to like worry the horse at all and chase him down, leaving strides out. She wants to be really confident and positive and make it easy for him so he can go Saturday night.
Caillou and Carl Cook. So all these 14 guarantee they've qualified for Saturday. Obviously, the rider's only allowed to have one horse on Saturday evening. But Carl Cook, Caillou, this is a 12-year-old gray gelding. Carl's always faster than he looks.
Well, this horse has such a big stride. So see, there he does 6 with no problem at all. And very tidy here.
Nice turn back.
He can do the 8 here. Even steadying.
Wow. That was nice.
He covers so much ground. And then I imagine he should be fine here. And then he's got to really gallop to the last jump, which he's good at. So
time
super tidy with his track.
3 seconds.
What do you think? Close.
Ooh, close.
35.33
seconds puts Carl Cook into third place.
But again, planning on Saturday night, this isn't, if you go crazy and really run to that last jump, I think you're doing yourself a disservice for Saturday night's bigger jumps.
Nice jump over top of the oxer. Carl's landing, looking for fence number 8.
A little bit of a rub there, but got away with it.
And you can see that rail just rocking in the cups, but it was a great ride for Carl Cook and Caillou. Jean Kierzy, here's the 17-year-old stallion, and Guy Thomas. They ride it for New Zealand.
All right, and this horse was 3rd, I think, in the World Cup qualifier in Sacramento 2 weeks ago. He's got such a big stride. He can certainly do 6 here very easily. Steadying. Ooh. Not sure if he planned 6 or 7 there, but whatever it was, he made it work quite well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he's steady in the 8.
As you said, these riders as well. I mean, yes, they'd love to have the prize money out of $36,500, but Saturday, unfortunately that comes down. Saturday is that World Cup qualifier. Right.
So this, it's important to be in the money if you can, but not as important as Saturday is.
Well, 37.23 seconds. 2 rails down, 8 jumping faults for Jean Kierzy and Guy Thomas. That's going to put them into 6th place. And Mariano Maggi still in the lead. Here he comes down to the first of the 2 rails that he has down.
certainly looks like he's in fabulous shape, though, for a 17-year-old horse.
Yes. Well, 19-year-old Alessandra Volpi aboard Foster, youngest rider in the jump off. And this 11-year-old gelding. Well, time to beat 34.43 seconds. I would imagine her trainers told her, okay, let's go have a solid jump off. Nothing too crazy.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if she's planning on going on Saturday night or not. So if she's not planning on going Saturday night, then this would be her class to win.
Remember, time to beat 34.43 seconds.
There's the 8. Oh, a little playful there, so that's going to cost her a little bit of time.
So 19-year-old Alessandra Volpi and Foster just heading for that, taking that last turn for the last fence.
You can hear Harley yelling.
35.74 seconds. There's Harley Brown right there. And that puts Alessandra Volpi, that 19-year-old rider aboard Foster, in 4th place. But Mariano Maggi still in first, 34.43 seconds.
It was a well-planned ride. Well, well executed, well planned, nice double clear. She's got to be thrilled with that.
She makes that nice turn back to the final fence.
Yeah, such a nice type of horse. So balanced, uphill. Really well done.
Well, Cessna, that's our 10-year-old gray mare, Georgina Bloomberg, for the USA. I'm going to say, Georgina always, when she walks in the ring, she has her game face on. It's
right,
business.
And she has so much presence. It's really nice to see that. She takes the whole sport very seriously, and she's a real competitor. And it's really nice to have her out here on the West Coast these last couple of years to do these indoor World Cup qualifiers.
So with Georgina not going on her first horse, so she could maybe run a little bit harder on this one, knowing that Saturday she's probably taking that first horse.
Right, so she knows there's no reason she can't go for it on this horse. There's the 8, and this is a fast horse across the ground. Will she be quicker? That was pretty well done, and I think this horse is quick in the air, so now is the time to make it up.
Ooh.
She's got nothing to lose but to keep going. I think she's got it. Come on. Oh! She didn't quite have the time anyway, Devin.
35.53 seconds. That final fence down, Georgina Bloomberg and Cessna.
Wow.
That's going to put her into 6th place. Oh, that is too bad. Without that rail, would have put her in the 4th, but now in 6th spot.
Kind of a late little rub, too, wasn't it?
It really was. You see Georgina look back at that final fence. It's just like, oh, man, that didn't happen. Well, Carlson and Viggo Bjorklund for Sweden. And this is an 11-year-old gelding. Well, time to beat still. Actually held by the other Swedish rider, Mariano Maggi, 34.43 seconds.
And he likes to win, and he likes to go fast. So let's see if he can put the pressure on the rest of the class and make Mario worry a little bit.
Okay, so nice over fence number 1. Ooh.
Whoops, guess that's not to be.
Kind of looked like you got a little weavy coming to that fence. Maybe the horse didn't get his eye on it. Granted, that fence is going straight towards the Jumbotron as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, but the faster you go, the harder they fall. You know what I mean? So sometimes you're trying to take risks and chances, and maybe you just lose your focus just a little bit because part of your brain is thinking about what you're going to do the minute you land.
Okay, so that stop there, that'll be 4 faults, and we see the time faults adding up fairly quickly because, once again mentioned in the jump off, time faults add up in the amount of 1 time fault per second or part thereof. So the 4 jumping, 19 is a total of 15 time faults. The time 59.16 seconds, and puts Viggo Bjorklund in 9th place.
All right, so we know Cassio's a fast rider, and he's I think he's got a very good chance of being able to beat Mariano's time.
Well, in Viggo Bjorklund, we see him just come down to fence number 8, that tall upright. It's always tough when you have that refusal at the second fence in the jump off.
Right, so then he just kind of cruises around, just trying to give his horse a little bit of confidence and not make a big issue out of it.
Well, Cassio Ravetti and Chaco, and they are the first of 5 remaining. Cassio Ravetti certainly fast in his own right, or the 13-year-old gelding.
Okay, I think he's pretty tidy there. Oof, didn't quite get down the 8 as well as I would have thought. And he looks a little quiet here, but again, he's deceiving. He wants to be sure that he has a clear round. And now he can really hoof it.
Looks like I don't think he's going to do it.
No, I don't think so. He's close.
35.51 seconds puts him in the 4th place. So Brazil now in the 4th spot, with Mariano Maggi still with that leading time, 34.43 seconds. In the lead, Ashley Bond in 2nd, Carl Cook in 3rd. And this is where, as you mentioned, didn't quite get down the 8.
Which, you know, I mean, he got there fine, but it just was a little bit of a delayed reaction. But again, you know, he's smooth and a little cautious here. I don't think he really intended on. It's hard to know. You know, I don't necessarily know each rider's plan before they go in for tonight, and it really does place weight on what they're planning to do on Saturday night.
So in the lead, Mariano Maggi. Aboard San Vano, Ashley Bond sits in 2nd, Carl Cook in 3rd. Cassio Ravetti, we just saw that rider move into 4th place. Alessandro Volpi in 5th, O'Neill in 6th, Georgina Bloomberg in 7th, Kerry Potter in 8th, Guy Thomas in 9th, Viggo Bjorklund in 10th place. And currently we do have that 2-way tie with those horses that didn't start in the jump off, and that's Georgina Bloomberg and Zazu Hoffman, as currently they are listed tied for 11th place. That certainly will change as 4 remaining in the jump off. And Cirrus de Rizo Z, that's a 9-year-old stallion, Molly Hay, the rider for the U.S. This rider, 29 years of age. Now, as you mentioned, Molly Hay earlier, just kind of starting to get into that beginning of the relationship with this 9-year-old stallion.
Right, so she's just getting to know him. But again, I think that she's going to give it a decent try, even though she's getting to know this horse is a simple enough jump off. So I think she should go for it a little bit, in my humble opinion. Hard rub there.
A little bit of a wider turn than we've seen coming back, that combination, but it pays off nicely.
Here. Oh, that was lucky. Oh, that she couldn't quite hold out.
No.
She got a little flat there, a little flat and aggressive.
So she makes that turn for home. 4 jumping faults at fence number 7 in the jump-off round.
It's a quick horse. I think she and this horse could eventually be quite quick and competitive.
Well, 36.94 seconds, 4 jumping faults. Still in the money in 8th place with 3 remaining. I don't know. It's Mariano Maggi. He could have the win here. 34.43 seconds. 3 left in the jump off. And we see Molly Hay just starting out with that first fence.
Well, let's not discount these next 3. I mean, Nick is very fast. I would not really give Mariano that benefit of the doubt just yet. I think you're a little hasty. I think she just got down that 8 strides a little too quickly.
And Colombisil de Rev and Nick Delajoyo, first of 3 remaining. That's right for the USA. 34.43 seconds. That is our leading time.
Okay, he looks like he's going to do 6 to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, got away with that rub, so hopefully the horse will be a little bit sharper behind because of that. He's going to have to hoof it for the 8 because he landed a little shallow. All right.
Okay. So here we are, that left-hand turn back to fence number 8.
All right, if he gets clear here, there's no reason why he can't kick and go. Go, 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 go. I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't think he's quick enough. 35.98.
35.98 seconds puts them into 6th place.
I mean, I think that was very well done. And there's, you've got to know your horse, know what you're capable of asking. And I think that, it's easier said than done making a tighter roll back into that double or a tighter roll back into the 5 stride. So.
Okay, so Nick Delajoyo into 6th place. Mariano Maggi still in top spot in pole position with a time of 34.43 seconds. Nice ride for Nick Delajoyo. He crossed that finish line.
Yeah, and those stirrups, sometimes those really light stirrups, you lose one, it's very difficult to get it back.
And Sarah Siegel and Camira, first of 2 remaining. This is the last rider for the host nation of the U.S. And this 11-year-old gray mare.
This looks like a very fast horse.
Little rub there.
Little rub there. She's a little wider here than Mariano was, so I don't think she's got him beat there. Such a pretty jumper. I love this horse. And there's the 8.
Super, super jumper.
Oh, pretty slick
nice
there.
That was very slick.
Can she do it? Come on, come on, come on, come on. I think she's got a chance if she keeps going. She's got to just keep going. It's close. Nope.
37.68 seconds and a clear round. Sarah Siegel and Camira puts her in 8th place on the leaderboard. Well, right now, 12th position, Guy Thomas and Jonquier Z. 1 remaining in the jump-off round. I don't know. Sweden, Germany.
What a nice horse that is.
That is
a
a
very good
super
match for
horse.
that girl.
Beautiful 11-year-old gray mare. And NKH Caruso, that will be the final horse right there. Matthias Venker, the rider for Germany, aboard the 15-year-old Gelding.
All right, well, I'm a big fan of his. So, of course, Mariano's sitting pretty because he knows he can't be worse than 2nd at this point. So I think he should go for it. And with a 15-year-old horse, I hope he does, and he's very quick.
I think
he's
he is going to go for it. It all comes down to this. Oh, he's making the long wind up.
He's going to get there easy in the 6.
Oh, wow.
He's preparing his horse to listen. He's on a big step, so he can do 6 strides and hopefully get there steadying even. 3, 4, whoa, in the 6.
There, very nicely done.
This is what he does better than most. Oh.
Okay.
Got to get the 8.
Oh.
Too bad. Intention was good.
Okay, so 4 faults he had just at that out part of that in and out. Oh, look at that time, though.
I know it. So that's the thing. I think, he knows he's had to jump down, so he doesn't need to. But look at the time would have been pretty easy for him.
Oh, look at that time. Same exact time as Mariano Maggi.
Wow, look at that.
34.43 seconds, 8 jumping faults.
But that counts.
Well, Matthias Venker with the 8 faults, 34.43 seconds. That would have been an absolutely amazing result if he had not had the 2 fences down, because it would have been a 2-way tie for first place.
Well, that was fun.
And it would have stayed as
Long
a tie
and fun.
because they're not going to play rock, paper, scissors for that change out.
That's right.
Well, that was just too bad for Matthias Venker and NKH Caruso. So We do have Mariano Maggi with the win, Ashley Bond in second, Carl Cook in third, Cassio Ravetti fourth, Alessandra Volpi in fifth, Nick Delajoyo in sixth place, Uma O'Neill in seventh, and that is Sarah Siegel in eighth place. Georgina Bloomberg takes home ninth spot. Those are our top 9 at the conclusion of our $36,500 CaptiveOne Grand Prix Qualifier. That was a great event tonight. 14, in fact, coming back for the jump-off round. Susan Artez, that was great fun.
Well, thank you, Devin, and I will be back with you tomorrow afternoon for the meter 45 speed.
You will be actually back by yourself.
I will be back by myself because you'll be doing another ring, won't you?
I will be
I'll
doing
be back
this.
by myself.
Yes, I will be actually the in-ring
Stand by
announcer
for my
this ring.
terrible jokes on my own. Yeah, that'll be really bad.
But then I will see you Saturday night.
Saturday
Ladies and gentlemen, please join us Saturday night. That'll be on FEI TV, and that will be for the $100,000 Longines FEI Jumping World Cup Del Mar. Thank you so much for joining us at home, and have a great night.
Good night, everyone.
Well, baby, there ain't no maybe about it. I ain't made of money, so I know that you ain't hanging around for that. If you grew on trees, the branches on mine wouldn't have no leaves on the shoestring, saving every dime we make. No Cadillac cruising, no boat on lake, out in no man's land on an old two-lane. Yeah, I've always liked it that way. It's good to be us, good to be breathing day after night after day. This feeling feels the way you should. If this is as good as it gets, then God, it's good to be.
Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, just moments away from our red carpet presentation. What a great opportunity to introduce 2 representatives who will be joining us here on the red carpet, representing CaptiveOne, Tim Luby and Jim Mattern. Very nice to have Tim and Jim with us this evening. Again, representing CaptiveOne. And of course, the winner of tonight's competition will be receiving the Bobby Drennan Trophy. And we're so pleased to have with us this evening for the presentation of the Bobby Drennan Trophy, Aurora Drennan, Dan Drennan, and Kathy Biaggi. We'll have that red carpet presentation for you all in just a few moments. And ladies and gentlemen, how about it? Without further ado, let's present our top finishers in this evening's Grand Prix. And ladies and gentlemen, here they are, our top finishers, and of course, leading our procession, our champion San Vano and Mariano Maggi. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our champions, Sanvano and Mariano Maggi. What a great win for Mariano and this terrific jumper, Sanvano. Ladies and gentlemen, in honor of the win here for Mariano Maggi, who represents the great country of Sweden, we ask that you all rise for Sweden's national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. And again on the red carpet, representing CaptiveOne this evening for our presentation, Tim Luby and Jim Mattern. Representing West Palms, Adrian Karazisas. Tim, Jim, and Adrian will escort our champion Mariano Maggi and Sanvano over to that beautiful Longines scoreboard for the win picture. And ladies and gentlemen, as we have mentioned, Mariano Maggi will be receiving for his championship ride tonight the Bobby Drennan Trophy. Very nice to have with us presenting our Bobby Drennan Trophy this evening, Aurora Drennan, Dan Drennan, and Kathy Biaggi. Reserve championship honors this evening went to Donatello and Ashley Bond. Taking third place honors, Caillou and Carl Cook. Fourth place to Chaco and Cassio Rivetti. Fifth place to Foster and Alessandra Volpi. In sixth place, it was Columcille de Rev. Nick Delajoyo with the ride. Clockwise of Greenhaven and Uma O'Neill finishing seventh. And eighth place to Kamira and Sarah Siegel. Once again, Mariano, we want to congratulate you and Sanvano on a great win. And as our champion, the honor is yours. If you would, lead the way in our victory gallop.
Once again in front of the red carpet, our champion Sanvano, Donatello, Caillou, Chaco, Foster, Columcille, Blackwise, and Camara. Riders, we want to thank you for a very exciting class indeed. Of course, to CaptiveOne, Tim and Jim, thank you so much for joining us this evening. And of course, to the Drennan family and Kathy Biaggi as well. Ladies and gentlemen, here in the Grand Prix Arena, we are looking at a 11-hour break. We're going to fire things up bright and early at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So until then, on behalf of all of us here at West Palms, and of course, the Del Mar International Horse Show, we'll bid everybody a good evening, muchas thank yous, and a namaste. We'll see you tomorrow.